Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Natsu had dual elements. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Quick update. What If Ichigo Awoke his true powers will be finished soon, since we've nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if Gacha system in Modern Family World? What if Transmigrated in Bleach World? What if Transmigrated in One Piece and becoming a Marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 4, This is Fairy Tale. 10 a.m. the next day. After successfully escaping the military, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy boarded a train bound for Magnolia. As they took their seats, Natsu was already feeling a bit nauseous. Hey Natsu, are you alright? Lucy asked with a concerned look. Because you look a little green. Natsu merely groaned, and leaned his face against the window. Natsu always get like this, Happy said, as he stifled a giggle. He has motion sickness. Lucy covered her mouth with her hand to stop her own giggles. Are you serious? You took out that Bora guy and all his goons without breaking a sweat. Using some ridiculous magic that I've never seen before, no less. But then you turn around and get motion sickness? Lucy asked with a raised eyebrow. That's really lame, man. Ugh, don't remind me. Natsu whined just as the train started to move. Almost instantly Natsu was on the floor, as he clutched his stomach in pain. Someone just kill me already. Natsu moaned in pain, as his stomach started to do backflips. Is there anything we can do to help him? Lucy asked Happy, who was happily staring out the window. Happy turned his head away from the window, and looked down at Natsu. The Dragon Slayer was on lying the floor, groaning from the pain every few moments. Happy then closed his eyes, and rubbed his chin. When he got like this on missions, Urza would lay Natsu's head in her lap and gently stroked his head. Happy said, as he nodded his head. Like what I did back in the restaurant? Lucy asked, as she started to blush slightly. Pretty much. But Urza would also whisper nice things to Natsu. He would something like that to Urza when she was a kid, back when she used to get nightmares a lot. It seems to work really well on Natsu as well. Happy replied, making Lucy blush an even brighter shade of red. And you're sure that that will work? Lucy asked, as she snuck a quick glance at Natsu. Aye. Happy cheered with a raised paw. The celestial spirit mage turned her head to look at the Dragon Slayer. Natsu looked like a mess, and Lucy couldn't help but feel sorry for him. So with a deep sigh, Lucy decided to take pity on Natsu. Natsu? Lucy called softly. The Dragon Slayer groaned, as he turned his head to look at Lucy. Come up here. Lucy patted the seat next to her. With great effort Natsu got off the floor, and slumped into the seat next to Lucy. Now lay your head in my lap, Lucy said in a motherly tone. Natsu turned to look at Lucy with wide eyes. You don't have to do that, Lucy, Natsu said as he forced a grin onto his face. I can tough it out until we reach Magnolia. Lucy looked at the Dragon Slayer skeptically. A sudden bump caused a suddenly dry heave. You won't last another 5 minutes, Lucy stated with a sympathetic look. Just lay your head down. And if you throw up on me, I'm throwing you off this damn train. Lucy hissed the last part with narrowed eyes. Natsu hesitated as he blushed slightly, but he ultimately relented. With a groan Natsu laid his head down on Lucy's lap. The celestial spirit mage had to hold in a moan when she felt Natsu's warm skin press against her thighs. He's so warm. It's nothing like the burning heat from earlier. It really feels nice, kinda like a heater. Lucy thought with a smile and a bright blush, as she started to slowly run her fingers through Natsu's pink hair. And the static electricity in his hair is sending tingles throughout my whole body. A low moan from Natsu pulled Lucy from her thoughts. She looked down at the dragon slayer. He looked better, but he still appeared to be in a slight amount of pain. Lucy then remembered the other thing that Happy had told her. Urza would whisper nice things to Natsu. Lucy's blush brightened several shades, as she thought about what she was about to do. Sure, Lucy said a little awkwardly, as she continued to stroke Natsu's head. Why, you'll be fine, Natsu. Natsu groaned again, and buried his face in Lucy's lap just above her knees. The dragon slayer then curled up into a ball and closed his eyes. Lucy smiled warmly down at the now passed out dragon slayer. He's really cute when he's asleep, Lucy thought as she laid her head against her seat. With a content sigh, Lucy closed her eyes. I could get used to this. Lucy slowly started to drift off to sleep, as she continued to absent-mindedly run her fingers through Natsu's pink locks. Happy watched the pair with a small smile. It's like they were never separated for 7 years. Happy thought, as he turned his head to look back out the window. It looks like she's already as close to him as Urza and Mira. I wonder how they'll handle another girl fighting for Natsu's affections. Happy grinned as he watched the countryside roll by. Things were going to get interesting very soon. 5 hours later. It was a little past 3 in the afternoon when the train pulled into Magnolia Station. The sound of the loud whistle awoke Lucy and Natsu. We're here already? Lucy asked, as she rubbed the sleep out of her eyes. I guess so. Natsu replied, as he stood up and stretched. Natsu helped Lucy with her bags, before they stepped off the train. Lucy marveled at the large bustling city before her. She could see shops and restaurants lining both sides of the street. Then Lucy saw it, a single building towering over the rest. She could see the fairy tale banner blowing proudly in the wind. That had to be where the guild hall was. You ready, Lucy? Natsu asked with a massive grin. There again was that stupid grin that she loved so much. Of course, Natsu lead the way. Lucy cheered with a smile of her own. After a short walk, the group had arrived at Fairy Tale's front doors. Lucy marveled at the building that was in front of her. Wow, it's huge, Lucy breathed out with wide eyes. A massive smile started to spread across her face. It's everything I've ever dreamed of and more. Welcome to Fairy Tale, Lucy. Natsu said, as he gestured to the double doors that lead into the building. With a cheer, Lucy rushed forward and reached for the door handle. She could hear the cheers and laughter inside from out here, and she wanted to get inside as quickly as possible. But Natsu's hand grabbed her wrist before she could open the door. She turned her head to look at Natsu, who had a wolfish grin on his face. She raised a single blonde eyebrow in confusion. Let me do it, Natsu said as released Lucy's wrist. Now step back. Lucy was still confused, but she obeyed and took a step away from Natsu. The dragon slayer's grin widened as he raised his foot, which was aimed directly at the door. Mira-chan, can we get 3 beers over here? A guild member called out, as he raised 3 fingers. Sure thing, Mira-Jane said with a smile, as she walked back towards the bar. Mira-chan. Wakaba called out. Yes, what is it, Wakaba? Mira-Jane asked, as she stopped in front of Wakaba's table. Wakaba smiled as he blew 3 smoke hearts into the air. Let's go out on a date sometime. Wakaba said, earning several glares from the other male guild members. Mira-Jane sighed before she was surrounded by a cloud of smoke. When the smoke dissipated, Mira-Jane was replaced with Wakaba's wife. You have a wife, don't you, Wakaba? Mira-Jane scolded, as she wagged her finger. Ah! Don't transform into my wife. Wakaba screamed, as he quickly averted his eyes. All the surrounding guild members burst out laughing at Wakaba's expense. Mira-Jane giggled as she dropped her transformation. Besides Wakaba, I already have my eyes set on someone. Mira-Jane said with a wink, before she walked off. The jaws of all the male guild members simultaneously hit the floor. What lucky bastard could Mira Jane possibly be interested in? The white-haired beauty had walked off before they could pry any info out of her. Mira Jane blushed madly as she set the tray of empty mugs down onto the bar. I can't believe I just said that, Mira Jane thought, as she pressed a hand against her flushed cheeks. There is no way I can let anyone know I've got a crush on Natsu. As if on cue, the doors to the guild burst open. We're home, Natsu screamed as he stepped into the guild. Lucy stood off to the side wide-eyed. She had no idea that Natsu was going to literally kick the doors open, almost blowing them off their hinges in the process. Natsu, happy welcome back, Mira Jane said with a warm smile. I'm so glad you're back, Natsu, Mira Jane thought just as she spotted Lucy standing in the doorway sheepishly. Now who is this girl, and why is she with Natsu? Hey Natsu. I overheard what happened in Harjan, Krav said, as he closed his eyes and grinned. /N turns out the guy who gives Natsu the tip about Salamander has a name. Actually, a lot of the background guild members have names, and are kind of fleshed out. It's pretty interesting, don't you think? You went a little over. When Krav opened his eyes, he was met with the sight of Natsu's foot inches away from his face. Bored. As soon as the words left Krav's mouth, he was sent flying across the guild by the force of Natsu's kick. That's for giving me false info, you bastard, Natsu said with a grin as he stood over Krav's unconscious body. My, now that Natsu is back, the guild may be torn apart soon, Mira Jane said with a warm smile as she watched Natsu brawl with several other guild members. It's already torn apart, Wakaba yelled as Natsu slammed a guild member into a table. Lucy watched the chaos unfold before her with rapt attention. A smile was on her face as she watched Natsu throw another guild member into the wall. I'm finally at Fairy Tail, Lucy said to herself as she clutched a hand over her racing heart. I finally made it. Oi! A voice yelled out from beside Lucy, causing her to jump in surprise. She looked to see a dark-haired boy, who was only wearing a pair of stripped boxers and a silver necklace with a small sword on the end. Did I hear that Natsu is back? Let's settle our fight from earlier, you flame-brained punk, Gray, a feminine voice called out. Have you been walking around like that? The boy, now identified as Gray, looked down and noticed that he was only wearing his boxers. Gah! When the fuck did I even do this? Kana, say something sooner next time, Gray screamed as his eyes widened. Lucy turned to the person who had addressed Gray. She saw a brown-haired woman sitting on a nearby table. The woman named Kana was dressed in a bikini top and a pair of brown pants. TCH, another one of those undignified guys, Kana said, as she hoisted a large barrel of alcohol over her head. That I really hate. Lucy was flabbergasted when she saw Kana start to drink directly from the barrel. Hey! Natsu! Fight me! Gray yelled as he walked towards the Dragon Slayer. What trash, a voice from behind Lucy said. When Lucy turned around, she was shocked to see a white-haired man towering over her. Arguing and squabbling in the middle of the day. You're all not little kids, you know. The man stepped forward and cracked his knuckles. Real men fight with their fists, not their words, the newcomer exclaimed as he prepared to take a swing at Gray and Natsu. Stay out of this, Elfman, Natsu and Gray yelled as they punched Elfman clear across the guild. Elfman crashed into the far wall and immediately fell unconscious. Lucy's sweat dropped as she watched the now-named Elfman slump onto the floor. I guess he was just all talk, Lucy said, as she heard another person speak up from beside her. HRMM, it's so noisy in here, the man said, as he adjusted his glasses. Lucy went wide-eyed as she recognized the mage. No way, that's Loke, the top-ranked mage you want to have as your boyfriend. He looks so cool, Lucy said just as two girls suddenly hugged Loki's sides. For you two ladies, I'll join in that fight, Loke said with a charming smile. Good luck. Both girls cheered with hearts in their eyes. And his image is ruined for me, Lucy said with a sigh. What's with this place?
Is no one here normal?
Oh, you're that new girl that showed up with Natsu. Lucy turned to the new voice, and was surprised to see Mary Jane standing beside her. The white-haired barmaid was smiling sweetly at Lucy.
Yo, you are the real Mary Jane. Lucy cheered like a schoolgirl.
A chair smashing into the wall nearby drew Lucy's attention back to the guild-wide brawl.
Don't we have to stop them?
Don't worry, Mary Jane replied sweetly.
This happens all the time. And
out of nowhere a bottle came flying in, and struck Mary Jane in the head.
Kia! Mary Jane-san, are you okay?
Lucy screamed with a horrified look on her face. But Mary Jane was back up and smiling a few seconds later.
Besides, isn't this really fun?
Mary Jane said with a smile, as a small trail of blood tricked from her forehead.
It's insane!
Lucy yelled, just as Gray landed next to her. But Lucy now stood slack-jawed, as Gray turned to face her. He was now completely naked, and he stood a mere few feet away from her. On the other side of the guild, Natsu twirled Gray's boxers around his index finger triumphantly.
You son of a bitch, not again!
Gray screamed, as he quickly covered himself.
Gray spotted Lucy and smiled at her. Excuse me, miss, may I borrow your underwear?
Gray asked, but he was immediately met with Lucy's fist.
No fucking way!
Lucy screamed as she blushed madly. Suddenly Lucy felt herself being scooped up and carried. She looked to see that Awoke was carrying her in his arms.
People with no grace are so annoying, don't you think? Awoke asked with a wink. By the way, which modeling agency do you work for? What the hell is going on?
Lucy exclaimed, just as Awoke was punched in the face. Lucy quickly scrambled to her feet, and hid near the back of the guild.
Men fight with their fists.
Elfman exclaimed, as he rushed back into the brawl.
But Elfman hadn't ran more than 10 feet before he met Natsu's fist.
I said you're getting in our way, dammit! Natsu exclaimed, as he hit Elfman with a strong right hook.
It's so noisy. I can't even drink in peace.
Kana said, as a vein bulged on her forehead.
It's time to end this, you guys.
Kana suddenly pulled out a tarot card, and it started to glow with magical energy.
I've had it!
Gray exclaimed as he punched a fist into his palm. Frost and ice formed in the air around his hands.
Ice make. Rah!
Elfman roared, as he raised his arm into the air. A magic circle surrounded his arm, and transformed his normal arm into a stone one. What a troublesome bunch of idiots! Awoke said with a sigh, as he twisted the ring on his index finger. The ring started to glow, as a magic circle formed over it.
Come and get me! Ha ha ha! Natsu laughed wildly, as he engulfed his hands in flames. They're gonna use magic!
Lucy exclaimed, as she felt the magic power in the room skyrocket.
Oh my, it looks like things are getting a little out of hand.
Mary Jane said with a sweat drop.
I hope Natsu will be okay.
Lucy turned her head, and gave Mary Jane a questioning look.
Why is she focusing solely on Natsu?
Lucy thought with slightly narrowed eyes.
That's enough, you idiots.
A new voice boomed, as a monster-sized foot slammed into the ground. Lucy slowly turned around, and what she saw nearly made her pee her pants. Standing in the center of the guild was a massive shadowy figure. The figure was so tall that it almost reached the ceiling.
Cut it out!
The figure roared, making everyone freeze in place.
He's humongous!
Lucy screamed, as her eyes bulged.
Oh, you were here, Master Makarov?
Mary Jane asked, as she looked up at the towering figure.
That's this guild's master?
Lucy exclaimed, as she pointed a shaky finger.
Ha 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 ha!
You were all scared shitless.
Natsu laughed with his hands on his hips. I guess I win this one. Suddenly Natsu was crushed underneath the shadowy figure's foot. The towering creature turned its head towards Lucy. I see we have a newcomer.
Why yes, Lucy stuttered out, as she started to shake uncontrollably. Lucy was shocked when the massive figure started to shrink and shrink. After a few moments, instead of a large, shadowy figure, there was an extremely short old man.
"Nice to meet you," Makarov said with a wave. "And who might you be?"
Before Lucy could speak, Natsu had run up and wrapped an arm around her shoulders.
"Ji-chan, this is my good friend Lucy Hart HMPH." Before Natsu could finish, Lucy had slapped her hand over his mouth. "Would excuse us for a sec?" Lucy said with a smile, before she dragged Natsu off. "What are you doing, you idiot?" Lucy hissed, as she slapped Natsu's arm. "I was introducing you," Natsu said with a confused look. "What? Was I not supposed to?" At Natsu's look of utter confusion, Lucy was instantly regretful for getting angry at Natsu. "No, it's not that, Natsu," Lucy said with a sigh. "I just don't want people to know my last name." "Why?" Natsu asked, as he raised a pink eyebrow. "My family runs a very profitable and powerful company, so we have lots of money," Lucy explained, as she looked at the floor. "I just don't want people to treat me special just because I'm a Heartfilia. I want them to treat me as my own person. I want this guild to know me not as Lucy Heartfilia, but just as Lucy." Lucy was surprised when she felt a hand on her shoulder. She looked up to see Natsu smiling warmly at her. "Don't worry, Lucy, I understand," Natsu said as he started to lead Lucy back towards Makarov. "I won't say anything, you can tell people when you're ready."
"Thanks, Natsu," Lucy said, as she gave Natsu her own smile.
"No problem, Lucy, we're nakama, right?"
Natsu said with a wide grin. For some reason that word made Lucy's flutter, and a small blush spread across her face.
"Yeah, of course we're nakama, Natsu,"
Lucy replied, as she tried to fight her blush. Natsu and Lucy returned to Makarov, who was waiting for them patiently. "Sorry about that," Natsu said, as he rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment.
"Like I was saying, this is my good friend Lucy." "Hello," Lucy said with a big smile, as she waved at Makarov. "It's a pleasure to meet you." "The pleasure is all mine, dear," Makarov said, before he jumped into the air. Doing several flips through the air, Makarov was about to land on a railing on the second level. But he misjudged his angle, and hit the railing head first. After grumbling a few profanities, Makarov rose and stood on the railing. Sighing, Makarov pulled a large stack of papers out of his jacket. "You damn fools have done it again," Makarov said, as he shook the papers in his hand. "These are all complaints from the council." Makarov then started to list all the complaints he had received. Gray had walked around a town naked after he had wiped out a smuggling organization, and he ran away after he stole drying underwear. Elfman assaulted the VIP he was assigned to escort, after the man told Elfman that men were all about education. Kana drank 15 barrels of alcohol, and charged them all to the council. Loke flirted with a council member's granddaughter, and damaged a talent agency. After listing most of the complaints, Makarov hung his head and released a heavy sigh. "And then there's you, Natsu," Makarov said, getting the Dragon Slayer's attention. "You destroyed the Devon thief family, but also destroyed 7 other houses. Then you leveled a historical clock tower in Tuli village. Burning down a church in Frisia. Damaging part of Lupanus Castle. Nazuna Observatory has collapsed, and has stopped working, and lastly you destroyed half of Harjan's port." Lucy's sweat dropped at Natsu, who was looking at the floor in embarrassment. "So most of the articles in the Weekly Sorcerer were done by Natsu, huh?" Lucy thought, as Natsu kicked a small piece of debris in frustration. "Everyone," Makarov called out, getting all the guild members' attention. "The council is seriously pissed off at me this time." Makarov clenched his fist, and he started to tremble slightly. Lucy was afraid he was going to start yelling at them. But she was surprised when Makarov started to chuckle. Makarov raised the pile of complaints into the air. His hand was suddenly engulfed in flames, burning the papers. "Screw the council," Makarov said, as he tossed the burning pile of paper. Natsu was quick to react. He ran up and grabbed the flaming pile of complaints.
With a content smile, Natsu started to eat the flames.
Listen up, you brats. The power to overcome reasoning comes from reasoning. Magic is not some miracle.
When the magic flow within us connects with the magic flow in nature, they will form an embodiment for the first time. You all will need to have strong mentality, and a lot of concentration for that. I mean, pouring everything you've got into something is the magic. If you're always worrying about being scolded by the higher-ups, you'll never improve your magic. So do not fear those idiots on the council. Everyone in the guild was grinning from ear to ear. This type of speech was a common thing for them, and they all knew how it would end. Do whatever you think is right. Makarov cheered, as he raised his arms into the air. That's what it means to be a fairy tale mage. The entire guild burst into a chorus of cheers and applause. Makarov's speech roared life back into the guild, and eventually everyone started partying. Several hours later, after the party had died down, Lucy was placing her hand on a table in the guild, as excitement raced through her veins.
Do you want it here?
Mira Jane asked, with a magic stamper in her hand.
Yes,
Lucy exclaimed, as a grin spread across her face.
And what color would you like?
Mira Jane asked, as she flicked through a few different colors.
We've got a lot to choose from.
Lucy said, as she looked around. She was trying to find something to spark some inspiration for the color she wanted. She saw it, across the guild hall. Natsu was chatting with a few guild members, and shoveling flaming food into his mouth.
I'll take pink. Pink?
Mira Jane questioned, as she followed Lucy's gaze. She saw that Lucy was gazing intently at Natsu, with a small smile on her face. Mira Jane sighed as she pressed the stamper down onto Lucy's hand. It looked like she had another girl vying for Natsu's attention.
Urza was bad enough already, but now she had to deal with this blonde newcomer. What surprised Mira Jane was how close Natsu and Lucy looked already.
Mira Jane could remember Natsu mentioning Lucy once or twice offhand, but he hadn't seen her in years. But the minute Natsu and Lucy reunite, they're acting like they were long-lost best friends or something. Try as hard as you want, Lucy, but I won't let you take him from me.
The same goes for you, Urza.
Mira thought with a smirk, as she walked back to the bar.
Whoa!
Lucy's eyes were shining, as she gazed at the pink fairy tale marker on her hand.
Natsu! Look!
Mira-san gave me a fairy tale marker. That's great, Luigi, Natsu said, as he barely paid attention. It's LU-, but Lucy was cut off when Natsu quickly spun around to face her, a wide grin on his face.
I was just kidding, Lucy, Natsu said with a laugh.
That's great to hear though, and it looks good on you. Thanks, Lucy said with a blush, as she clutched the hand with her fairy tale marker.
Welp, I guess I should go on a job.
Natsu said, as he walked towards the request board. I need to pay for food somehow.
Natsu's eyes narrowed, as he scanned over the wide variety of quests. Hey Mira, is Urza in town?
Natsu called out, as he picked up a request. No, she went a mission a day after you left. She wanted to do something to pace the time until you came back, Mira Jane replied with a smile, as she wiped down a beer mug. She should be back in a few days.
Okay, Natsu said, as he grabbed another request. 160,000 jewels for exterminating some thieves, sounds like we have a winner.
Just as Natsu was about to hand the request to Mira, a small boy ran into the guild. The boy ran right through guild, and straight up to Makarov.
Is my daddy back yet?
The small boy asked, causing Natsu to turn and look at him. Your father is a mage, Romeo, have a little faith in him. So stop being annoying, go home, and wait for him.
Makarov replied, in a calm tone.
He said he'd be back in 3 days. Romeo said, as tears built up in his eyes.
But it's been a whole week since then. Macau's job was at MT Hakob, right?
Natsu thought, as he watched Romeo plead with Makarov.
It's not that far. Romeo exclaimed.
Please look for my father.
No way.
Your father is a competent mage.
Makarov said, making Natsu clench his fists.
We have no mage who can't take care of themselves.
Just go home and play or something. Romeo fought back tears as he started to shake. Suddenly Romeo started to glare at Makarov. Idiot!
Romeo screamed as he punched Makarov in the face. Wiping away his tears, Romeo ran out of the guild.
"Ha, I never thought it would be so strict here,"
Lucy said as she sat at the bar. "Master is like that sometimes, but he's actually very worried about Macau," Mira Jane said as she stocked a few shelves. Natsu crushed the request in his hand and slammed it into the request board.
"Hey! Natsu! Don't break the damn request board,"
Nab said as he looked at the smashed portion of the request board.
"What's he doing?"
Lucy asked as she watched Natsu walk over and grab his pack up off the floor.
Then Natsu silently walked out of the guild.
"Master, Natsu's gonna do something stupid," Nab complained.
"I can guarantee he's going to help Macau,"
Makarov said as he smiled with a pipe still in his mouth. "No one can change Natsu's mind once he's dead set on something.
So just leave him alone." "That's strange, I've never seen Natsu act like that,"
Lucy said as she took a sip of her drink.
"The same thing happened with Natsu,"
Mira Jane said as she filled a couple mugs full of beer.
"Maybe he saw himself in Romeo-kun. Natsu's father hasn't come back ever since he disappeared 7 years ago. Though by father, I mean a foster father." "You're talking about Igneel and Valinor, right?"
Lucy asked, making Mira Jane's eyes widen.
"Yeah, did he tell you about them already?"
Mira Jane asked with a surprised expression. "Natsu told me that he was raised by 2 dragons and that they had disappeared. But he didn't tell me that they had been gone that long," Lucy answered as she looked down into her drink.
"Well, Igneel found Natsu in the forest when he was little,"
Mira Jane explained with a small smile.
"Natsu learned words, cultures, and magic from Igneel.
We're all fairy tale mages, and we all carry something: wounds, pain, suffering. Even I carry pain in my heart as well."
"Ha?"
Lucy said as she perked up a little.
"Oh, no, it's nothing really,"
Mira Jane said as he put on a fake smile, but Lucy could hear the pain in her voice.
"It's about Lisanna, isn't it?" Lucy asked with a sympathetic look.
Mira Jane gasped as she felt tears sting her eyes.
How did you know?"
Mira Jane asked with wide eyes. Lucy sadly smiled and grasped Mira Jane's hand.
"Natsu told me what happened,"
Lucy explained as she gave Mira Jane's hand a slight squeeze.
"I'm so sorry for you, lost Mira-san. If you ever need anyone to talk to, I'll gladly listen with open ears. Thank you, Lucy."
Mira Jane stuttered out as she held back her tears. After giving Mira Jane's hand on more squeeze, Lucy stood up from her seat.
"Well, I'd better head out,"
Lucy said as she stretched.
"Where are you going?"
Mira Jane asked as she wiped away the tears that had formed in her eyes.
"I'm going to find Natsu," Lucy said with a smile.
"Someone has to make sure that idiot doesn't blow up half that mountain."
"Bye, Mira-san."
With a quick wave, Lucy bolted out of the guild in search of Natsu. Maybe she isn't so bad after all, Mira Jane thought with a small smile as she watched the guild doors close behind Lucy.
After running for about 5 minutes, Lucy found Natsu on the outskirts of Magnolia.
She spotted him just as he was stepping into a carriage.
Right as the carriage started to move, Lucy quickly hopped inside, surprising Natsu and happy. "Lucy? What are you doing here?"
Natsu asked, completely shocked to see his blonde friend.
"What does it bother you?"
Lucy replied with a smirk.
"And no, nothing like that," Natsu quickly denied, as he waved his hands defensively.
"I'm just kidding, Natsu," Lucy said with a chuckle.
"I just wanted to come and help you out. Also, I had to make sure you didn't go overboard again." "Oh, thanks, Lu HMPH."
Natsu was cut off as a sudden wave of nausea hit him.
Lucy sighed and patted her lap. "Come on, hothead, I'll help you out,"
Lucy said with a sympathetic smile.
"You're an angel, Lucy." Natsu groaned out as he laid his head in Lucy's lap. Just shut up, and relax," Lucy demanded, as her face turned bright red.
Like on the earlier train ride, Lucy started to gently run her fingers through Natsu's hair. They stayed like this for a majority of the carriage ride. I'll have to find a place to live after we help Mikao-san," Lucy said mostly to herself after a while. "You could live with Natsu and me," Happy suggested. Lucy's face immediately flushed a deep shade of red at Happy's suggestion. Thanks for the offer, but I'd rather try and find my own place," Lucy said, as she tried to calm her blush. A few moments later the carriage came to a stop. It stopped. Natsu yelled, as his head shot out of Lucy's lap. "We're here already?" Lucy questioned. I am sorry," came the voice of the carriage driver. "I can't take you any farther with the carriage." When Natsu opened the back doors to the carriage, they were hit with a strong gust of freezing wind. Natsu stepped out unfazed into the raging snowstorm, while Lucy started to shiver uncontrollably. "What's going on?" Lucy yelled over the harsh wind. "It's supposed to be summertime, why is there a raging snowstorm?" Lucy hugged herself to try and control her shivering. "It's so cold," Lucy said through chattering teeth. "Well, it's your fault for wearing so little," Natsu said, as he gestured toward Lucy's state of dress. "It's not like you're all bundled up either," Lucy screamed. "My body is naturally heated, so I don't get cold," Natsu said with a grin. "Can I borrow your blanket?" Lucy asked, as she pulled on the green blanket on Natsu's pack. "Sure, just don't lose it," Natsu said with a smile. Lucy immediately wrapped the blanket tightly around herself. "I'm still cold," Lucy said in a dejected tone. "Here," Natsu said, as he extended his arm. "Come closer, and you can share my body heat." "No. That's okay," Lucy said, as her cheeks flushed in embarrassment. I have an idea." Lucy reached onto her hip and pulled out a silver key. "Oh, open gate of the clock. Horologium." A magic circle appeared in front of Lucy, as a grandfather clock materialized in front of her. The clock sprouted a pair of arms, leg, and a head. Before it stood up off the ground. "Whoa! That's cool!" Happy cheered. Lucy immediately crawled inside the clock and wrapped herself in Natsu's blanket. "I'll stay in here," she said. Horologium spoke for Lucy. Natsu stared at Lucy for a moment before he shrugged. The Dragon Slayer started to walk in search of Mikao, with Lucy and Horologium following behind him. "What job did Mikao-san come here for anyways?" "She says," Horologium asked. "You came after me without finding that out?" Natsu asked with a raised eyebrow. "Mikao came here to subdue the crazy monster, Vulcan." Lucy's eyes widened when she heard this, and she started to shiver in fear instead the cold. "I want to go home," she says. "You're free to leave anytime you want, Lucy," Natsu said, as he turned to face her. "You don't have to stay if you don't want to." "I'll stay, because someone needs to keep an eye on you," she says. "That's the spirit, Lucy," Natsu exclaimed with a grin. "Mikao! Are you here? Did Vulcan kill your sorry ass?" Natsu's shouts echoed throughout the mountain, but he received no reply in return. Suddenly a large figure landed in front of them. It was a large, white humanoid monkey. The creature quickly took a swing at Natsu, but the Dragon Slayer quickly flipped out of the way. "That's Vulcan!" Happy screamed as Natsu and Vulcan stared each other down. Quickly rushing forward, Vulcan shoved Natsu out of the way, and headed straight for Lucy. A human woman!" Vulcan cheered, as he hoisted Horologium over his shoulder. "I'm definitely taking you with me." "Natsu, help," she says. Horologium called out, as Vulcan carried Lucy and him away. "So he can speak, huh?" Natsu said with a grin, as he punched his palm, flames licking at his hands. "Come Happy, let's go save Lucy, and I guess we can save Mikao's sorry ass as well." "Aye, sir." How did this happen? Lucy cried, as she continued to hit inside Horologium. The celestial spirit mage watched as Balkan danced around her.
And why the hell is this stupid monkey so hyper?
Lucy pressed her face against the glass on Horologium's chest and sighed deeply.
Natsu, please hurry. Lucy whispered, just as Balkan pressed his face against the glass. Woman, Balkan said, as he tapped the glass.
Suddenly there was a poof, and Horologium was gone, leaving Lucy unprotected against Balkan.
Wait. Horologium, don't disappear.
Lucy screamed, as she backed away from Balkan.
I'm sorry, but my time is up, farewell.
Horologium said, before he completely vanished.
I need an extension. Please give me some more time.
Lucy screamed, as she cowered before Balkan. Pretty woman, Balkan said, as he reached out to touch Lucy.
Don't touch her, you monkey bastard.
Natsu screamed, as he burst into the cave. And you have no idea how badly I wanted to make a Planet of the Apes reference, but I managed to restrain myself XD.
Natsu!
Lucy exclaimed, as relief washed through her.
Get the hell away from Lucy!
Natsu yelled, as he charged forward.
And where the hell is Mako HHSHIT? Natsu yelped as he slipped on the cave's icy floor.
Doing several tumbles, Natsu slammed into the ice wall just past Lucy and Balkan. God damn it, Natsu, Lucy said with sigh, as she pinched the bridge of her nose.
Can you not make an ass of yourself for 5 minutes? Hey, you stupid monkey!
Natsu yelled, as he shook the ice shards from his hair.
Where is Macau?
Ha! Balkan said, as he turned away from Lucy to face Natsu.
I know that you can understand me, I'm talking about Macau. A human man! Natsu exclaimed, as he glared at Balkan. A man?
Balkan asked with a confused look, as he scratched his head.
That's right. Natsu said, as he pointed at Balkan. Now where did you hide him, you bastard? He thinks the monkey hid Macau-san?
Lucy asked herself, as her eyes suddenly widened.
Is Macau-san even alive? Come, come.
Balkan said with a grin, as he gestured for Natsu to follow.
I guess he understood me. Natsu said, as he followed Balkan. The giant snow monkey led Natsu to a hole in the hole. Once they reached the hole, Balkan pointed through it. What? Is he in there? Natsu asked, as he peered through the hole.
Taking Natsu by surprise, Balkan grabbed the dragon slayer and threw him through the hole.
You sneaky motherfucker!
Nasty screamed, as plummeted down the mountain.
Natsu!
Lucy screamed, as she shot to her feet. Me no like man, Balkan said, as he waved to the falling dragon slayer.
Me likes woman. No!
There's no way that Natsu was dead, Lucy said, stepping away from one of the openings in the wall.
We just reunited, and he's an amazing mage. He's fine, I know it in my heart that he's okay. Me no likes man. Me no likes man. Balkan chanted, pounding on his chest. Woman, woman, woman. 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 Is that all you can say, you perverted bastard?
Lucy exclaimed, as she reached for a golden key.
What are you gonna do if Natsu got hurt?
Lucy grabbed Taurus' battle axe-shaped key, and it started to glow with magical power.
Open. Gate of the Golden Bull.
Taurus.
Moo.
Taurus roared, as he rose out of the ground in front of Lucy.
A bull? Balkan asked, glaring at Taurus.
Taurus, the most power celestial spirit I have, will fight you. Lucy yelled, as she pointed at Balkan.
You pervy monkey. Lucy-san. You have nice breasts as always. They're more amazing than ever.
Taurus said with heart-filled eyes.
Ugh, I forgot, he's a giant pervert too.
Lucy said, as she rubbed her temples.
Hey! Don't take my woman. Balkan roared, with an angry expression. My woman?
Taurus said, as he turned his head to glare at Balkan.
What you said is must unforgivable.
That's right, Taurus.
Kick his ass. Lucy cheered. You should have said my breasts instead of my woman, Taurus said, as he stalked towards Balkan. What the hell? That's so not right,
Lucy screamed, as she covered her breasts. Horologium used up a lot of my magic power earlier.
I just hope I have enough to make Taurus last for a while, Lucy thought, as she clenched her fists. I'm more than ready, Taurus yelled, as he charged towards Balkan, raising his massive battle axe. How dare you push me off the cliff? A menacing voice said.
Everyone turned to see a shadowy figure standing in the hole Natsu had been pushed out of.
Natsu!
Lucy called out, as a wave of relief washed through her.
You're okay. HRM? Natsu said when he spotted Taurus. What? There are more monsters. Natsu ran up and kicked Taurus in the face. His powerful kick sent the celestial spirit flying back.
With a crash, Taurus impacted onto the ground.
I can't take Anna-Marie, Taurus said weakly, as he slumped onto the floor. Kia! Natsu, what the hell was that for?
Lucy screamed at the Dragon Slayer.
And to think I was worrying so much about you.
Lucy fumed for a few more seconds, before realization hit her.
Wait, how did you survive? It's all thanks to Happy,
Natsu said with a grin, as he pointed to the flying blue cat.
You're welcome, Natsu, Happy said, as he waved at Lucy. That's right, Happy can fly,
Lucy stated, as she waved back at the cat.
It's my magic ability, Happy said with a smile. Wait, you can't handle transport, but you're okay with Happy?
Lucy asked with a confused look.
What are you talking about? Natsu asked, as he quirked his head. Happy isn't transportation, he's my friend. You're weird sometimes, Lucy. Alright, I'm sorry,
Lucy said with a sweat drop.
TCH, can't believe he called me weird again. Listen, Lucy, all of Fairy Tales members are Nakama,
Natsu explained, as he turned to face Lucy.
From Ji-chan, Mira. As Natsu continued his explanation, Balkan started to approach him from behind. And Natsu, it's coming, Lucy said, as she pointed at Balkan, but the Dragon Slayer wasn't paying attention. Then that icy prick Gray and Elfman. I got it, Natsu. Just turn around,
Lucy screamed, as Balkan neared Natsu.
To Happy and you, Lucy, we're all Nakama.
Lucy's eyes widened when he quickly spun around.
That's why I'm bringing Macau home.
Balkan reared up, ready to slam its fists down onto Natsu.
Lightning Dragon's Claw.
Natsu delivered an electrically charged roundhouse kick to Balkan's face.
The attack sent the large snow monkey flying past Lucy.
Now tell me where Macau, or I'll burn you black as charcoal and pump you so full of electricity that you'll explode, Natsu threatened, as flames burned in his right hand and lightning sparked off of his left hand. Balkan quickly shot up, with electricity still coursing through its body. Reaching up, Balkan grabbed several sharp icicles off the ceiling. Rearing back, Balkan hurled the icicles at Natsu.
Ha ha!
Natsu laughed, as his body became encompassed in bright flames.
Your ice will work on my fire. Balkan looked for another weapon, and spotted Taurus' axe laying on the ground.
Grinning wildly, Balkan picked the axe up, and hefted it onto his shoulder.
Oh shit, that looks painful,
Natsu said, as he started to sweat a little.
Rah!
Balkan roared, as he charged Natsu. The snow monkey started to swing the massive axe wildly at Natsu. But the Dragon Slayer was effectively dodging all of the attacks, until he slipped on the ice again.
Fuck again!
Natsu exclaimed, as he lost his footing. Smiling in victory, Balkan raised the axe and swung downward at Natsu, who was lying on the floor. But Natsu managed to catch the axe just a few inches from his face. It immediately became a battle of strength and endurance, as Natsu tried to keep the large axe from impaling him.
Seeing that Natsu was in trouble, Lucy quickly sprinted over to Taurus.
Taurus!
Wake up and go back to the celestial spirit world.
Lucy exclaimed, as she frantically shook the large cowman.
If you disappear, then your axe will go too. You're not winning this, you monkey bastard. Natsu yelled as his hands became engulfed in flames.
The blade in Natsu's hands quickly started to melt under the intense heat of his flames.
Natsu began to eat the liquefied metal that dripped down. No way, he's melting the blade. Lucy whispered in awe. He's eating it too. Here I come.
Natsu exclaimed, as he tossed the melted axe to the side.
Fire Dragon's Iron Fist.
Natsu cocked his flaming fist back and punched Balkan in the face.
Balkan went flying back into the wall, its face charred and burned. Weren't you supposed to ask it where Mikao-san is? Lucy questioned with a raised eyebrow. Ah shit. I forgot.
Natsu exclaimed, as the flames around his fist died out.
Man, he's out for the count.
Lucy said, as she scratched her head. Natsu's eyes widened, as he watched Balkan slowly start to fall apart.
Gah! What the hell is going on?
Natsu screeched, as he jumped back.
When Balkan completely disappeared, Mikao was left in his place. That monkey became Mikao. Natsu exclaimed in complete shock. Oh!
Happy cheered, as he jumped in the air. So Mikao was taken over by Balkan.
Taken over?
Lucy repeated with a confused look. It's a type of magic that lets you take over something's body, Happy explained. Just then the wall behind Mikao gave out, and her fell through the opening.
Son of a bitch!
Natsu exclaimed, as he rushed forward.
The Dragon Slayer managed to catch Mikao's leg just before he was out of reach. But Natsu's momentum carried him through the hole as well.
Luckily Happy was quick to react, and grabbed the back of Natsu's pants.
I can't keep holding you two up. Happy said through grit teeth. My wings are about to disappear. Shit. This isn't good.
Natsu screamed, as he felt Happy's grip slipping.
Don't worry guys.
Lucy exclaimed, as she grabbed Happy's tail.
Lucy. Thank God you're here. Natsu exclaimed with a grin. Crap, you guys are heavy.
Lucy groaned out, as her muscles began to burn.
No more need to worry, Lucy-san.
Taurus said with a smile, as he began to pull everyone up.
Thank you, Taurus, you're just in time.
Lucy said, as she let her aching muscles relax.
Bull man. Natsu cheered. You're a good man.
Taurus pulled everyone back into the cave, before he returned to the celestial spirit world.
Natsu gently laid Mikao on the floor, as Lucy began to inspect his wounds. Here, Natsu said as he handed Lucy a small box of medical supplies.
These should help. Thanks, Lucy said as she took the box. It looks like he fought fiercely before he was taken over. Lucy began to clean Mikao's wound, and put bandages on him. She gently swabbed Mikao's cuts with alcohol. This wound here is really serious, Lucy said, as she did her best to clean the large laceration on Mikao's side. After cleaning the wound, Lucy got a solemn look on her face.
The wound on his side is too deep,
Lucy explained, as she fought back tears.
We can't do anything else with the first aid kit we have. Natsu sighed and raised a flaming hand. Why dash? Lucy was cut off when Natsu pressed his flaming palm against Mikao's side. What are you doing? Lucy exclaimed in shock. I'm cauterizing the wound, Natsu explained. It's the best we can do to keep right now. Just be a man, and take the pain, Mikao. Lucy hold his ass down.
Mikao began to writhe and scream in pain. Lucy did her best to hold the thrashing man down, as Natsu cauterized the cut on his side.
Don't you dare die on us,
Natsu exclaimed, as sweat dripped off his brow.
Romeo is back home waiting for you. Gah! Mikao roared in pain. Asterisk cough shit, what a shame. Wave of relief flowed through Natsu, Lucy, and Happy when they heard Mikao speak.
I managed to get 19 of them, Mikao said, his voice was hoarse and weak.
Ugh. I was taken over by the 20th one. I understand, but don't speak anymore.
Natsu exclaimed, his voice full of irritation.
Your wound might open up again. What? There was more than one of those monkey things?
Lucy thought, as her eyes widened. I can't believe Mikao-san took on such a dangerous job by himself.
I'm so angry at myself.
Mikao said, as he put his face in his hand.
Damn it, how can I possibly face Romeo now? I said shut up. Natsu yelled in anger. Do you want me to punch you? TCH, you're the same as always.
Mikao said with a chuckle.
Now help me up, I have to get home to my son. Lucy smiled as she watched Natsu support Mikao. Amazing, I'm really no match for them. Lucy thought, as she quickly followed behind Natsu and Mikao. Back in Magnolia, Romeo sat on a bench outside the park in the center of Magnolia.
He sighed as he looked down at his feet.
Dad, Natsu and Lucy may please come back soon.
Romeo said, as he felt tears sting his eyes. Hey buddy, did you call for us? Romeo slowly raised his head to see Natsu, Lucy, Happy, and his father standing in front of him. A smile spread across Romeo's face when he saw his father. But then he remembers that all this was his fault. Romeo remembered how other kids kept on teasing him.
What's so great about fairy tale mages?
They're a bunch of drunk assholes.
No, they're not.
Romeo yelled at the kids that were picking on him.
Mages are cowards.
I'd rather become a knight when I grow up, not some stupid mage.
Mages reek like alcohol.
All these hurtful words stung Romeo, so later that night he confronted his father.
Daddy! Go do something great. Show those bullies that they're wrong.
Romeo exclaimed, which shocked Mikao greatly.
I don't want us to be insulted like this forever.
Tears filled Romeo's eyes, as he saw that his dad was badly hurt. Dad, I'm so sorry, Romeo stuttered out, as he started to shake slightly. Suddenly Romeo felt his father hug him. I'm the one that should be sorry, Romeo, I made you worry. Mikao said, as he held his son tightly. I'm sorry that I scared you.
It's okay, I'm the son of a mage after all.
Romeo said, as he returned his father's embrace.
Hey, if those little shits tease you again. Mikao said, as smirked at Romeo.
Ask them if their old man can defeat 19 monsters by himself.
Okay?
Romeo grinned at his father, as a few tears fell from his eyes.
When Romeo turned around, her saw Natsu, Lucy, and Happy walking away. Natsu and Happy. Thank you. Romeo shouted to the retreating trio. And, thank you too, Lucy and E.
Come Lucy, Natsu said with a grin, as he grabbed Lucy's hand.
Let's find you a place to live.
Lucy's face burned bright red, as Natsu led her through the streets of Magnolia. I haven't even been in Fairy Tale a day, and I've already had my first adventure.
Lucy thought with a warm smile, as she looked at Natsu. And it's all thanks to you, Natsu. Without you none of this would have ever happened, thank you. Chapter 5, Dear KB. The next day.
I can't believe Natsu found me such a nice place, Lucy said with a content sigh, as she stepped out of her bathtub. She quickly dried her hair, and wrapped a towel around herself. It's very spacious for only 70,000 jewels a month. There's plenty of storage space. Pure white hallways, the scent of fresh wood, a small old-fashioned fireplace, there's even a cooking stove. But the most importantly dash. However, Lucy stopped dead in her tracks when she saw Natsu and Happy sitting in her living room. The Dragon Slayer was sitting on a, still plastic-covered, couch. He was munching on a bag of chips, while Happy sat on the table in front of him eating a fish.
How you doing, Lucy?
Natsu said with a grin, as he waved at the blonde.
Kia. My room.
Lucy screamed, as she ran up to Natsu and kicked him square in the face.
Why the fuck are you in my room?
The kick collided with Natsu, and sent him crashing into Happy. The pair were then sent flying into the wall across the room.
God damn, Lucy. You have one nasty kick. Natsu groaned out from the floor, rubbing his bruised face. Anyway, I came over because I wanted to hang out with you. So what? Just because you want to hang out doesn't mean you can just break into my apartment.
Lucy exclaimed, as a fierce blush spread across her face.
I can't believe Natsu actually broke in just to hang out with me. That's actually kind of sweet. Lucy thought with a soft smile. But I might as well keep acting angry for a bit. Natsu! What you did is trespassing. Which is a crime. Lucy yelled in fake anger. Man, you're really hurting my feelings, Lucy. Natsu said with a pout. I'm the one being violated here.
Lucy exclaimed with a huff, as she crossed her arms over her chest.
While Lucy was yelling at Natsu, Happy had snuck away.
The blue cat went up to one of Lucy's walls, and began to claw the walls.
Hey Lucy, you have a really nice room here.
Happy said with a smile, as he continued to sharpen his claws on Lucy's white walls.
Happy. Don't sharpen you damn claws on my wall.
Lucy screamed, as she ran over to where Happy was. Right when Lucy was about to strangle Happy, she saw something that made her turn white. She spotted Natsu walking over to her desk across the room.
HRMM? What's this?
Natsu asked, as he picked up a stack of papers.
Kinda looks like a NOV dash. No.
Lucy screamed, diving across the living room and snatching the papers out of Natsu's hands. Lucy's whole body was flushed red in embarrassment, as she clutched the papers protectively to her chest. She glared at Natsu, who was giving her a confused look.
What is that, Lucy? Natsu asked with a raised eyebrow. I'm really curious now. Who cares what it is? Please just go home.
Lucy exclaimed, as she waved her fist at Natsu.
Are you writing a novel? Natsu asked, making Lucy squeak and turn even redder. And no, of course not.
Lucy stuttered out, as she held the papers in her hands even tighter.
It's all right if you are, Lucy. Natsu said with a grin. I actually think it's pretty cool.
I notice Levy trying to write her own stories all the time, but she can never get very far before she gives up. So I know it must take a lot of patience and talent to write a book.
Really?
Lucy asked, as she felt her heart flutter a little. Yeah, I'm sure your book will turn out great. Natsu said, causing a massive smile to spread across Lucy's face.
But promise me one thing. What is it, Natsu? Lucy asked in a confused tone.
Let me be the first person to read your book when it's finished.
Natsu exclaimed with a toothy grin.
Oh okay, Lucy said as a new wave of embarrassment hit her. But it probably won't be finished for a long time.
It will be worth the wait. Natsu said with a smile. Just please don't tell anyone at the GUID yet. I'd die of embarrassment if they found out.
Lucy said, as she held her unfinished novel closer to her chest.
Don't worry, Lucy, I promise I won't tell anyone.
Natsu said with a wide grin.
Oh God, Natsu, do you even realize what you're doing to me?
Lucy thought, as her heart beat rapidly in her chest.
I think I have more than just a crush on you now, Natsu. I think I'm starting to fall in love with you.
God, what the hell is wrong with me? I fucking hate reading, but here I am asking Lucy to let me be the first to read her book.
Natsu thought, continuing to smile at Lucy.
But something is drawing me to make her happy, to see her smile.
It kind of feels like something is pulling me towards her. I feel the same thing around Urza and Mira.
I just have this urge to see them smile, and to never let them be sad. Why are you two just staring at each other?
Happy asked, snapping Lucy and Natsu out of their thoughts.
We weren't staring at each other. Lucy said with a nervous chuckle.
Yeah, what Lucy said. Natsu quickly agreed with Lucy. You kike each other. Happy purred out with a grin. No. It's not like that. Both Natsu and Lucy screamed in unison, both their faces red from embarrassment.
Oh, you're already saying the same thing at the same time, how cute! Happy exclaimed, causing Natsu and Lucy to turn a darker shade of red.
Shut up!
Again Natsu and Lucy shouted in unison.
Ha! You did it again! Happy said, pointing at Natsu and Lucy.
Natsu and Lucy turned to look at one another. As Lucy stared at Natsu, she became very aware that she was still only wearing a towel. With a squeak of embarrassment, Lucy shot to her feet.
I'm going to get changed,
Lucy yelled as she ran to her room. Don't you dare come near my room, or I'll kill you. As Lucy slammed her door shut, Happy turned to look at Natsu. The Dragon Slayer was staring at Lucy's door, his face still flushed bright red. Natsu was zoned out as he stared at Lucy's closed door. Oh God, Lucy was only in a towel that entire time. I barely even noticed. Natsu thought, as a barrage of images of Lucy in only a towel flooded his mind.
That had to be one of the hottest things I've ever seen.
The only thing that even comes close to that is when Urza and Mira did that bikini photoshoot for the Weekly Sorcerer.
I'm never gonna get those images out of my head. Hey Natsu?
Happy asked, saving Natsu from the waves of erotic images filling his head.
Ha? What do you want, Happy?
Natsu replied, shaking his head slightly.
Do you really like Lucy?
Happy asked, making Natsu nearly choke on his own breath.
Natsu didn't answer immediately. He just continued to stare at Lucy's door for a few more moments.
The Dragon Slayer suddenly sighed and crossed his hands over his bare chest.
I don't know, Happy,
Natsu answered as he closed his eyes. You've asked me the same question about Urza and Mira. I feel the same thing for them as I do for Lucy. There's just this force that is telling me to make them happy. To never see them sad. It's such a strong pull I can't fight it, not that I really want to. It's just strange, I get all tingly inside when I'm around the three of them.
Maybe it has something to do with you being a dragon slayer?
Happy suggested, rubbing a paw under his chin. That could be it, and since I was raised by two dragons, this, whatever it is, could be stronger. Natsu said with a sigh, before a grin spread across his face. Well, whatever this pull is, I'm gonna keep them and the guild safe. I hate to see my nakama sad, especially those three. They all hold a special place in my heart. Natsu finished by pounding his fist over his heart. I make this promise as Natsu Dragneel, as a dual dragon slayer, and as a fairy tale mage that I will protect the three of them and my guild at all costs. You're really growing up, Natsu. Happy thought with a smile, as he listened to the conviction in Natsu's words. 5 minutes later. Lucy eventually emerged from her room in a fresh pair of clothes. She was mildly surprised to see that Natsu and Happy hadn't been going through all her things while she was getting changed. They were in pretty much the same spot they had been when she left. Both of them appeared to be talking when she exited her bedroom. So she quietly snuck past them into her kitchen. She pulled out a kettle and prepared some tea for the three of them.
Natsu! Happy! Come have some tea!
Lucy called out as she set the cups on a small table in her kitchen. After a few moments, Natsu and Happy walked into the kitchen. Happy quickly hopped up onto the table, while Natsu sat across from Lucy. Sorry guys, but I just moved in so I don't have much furniture. There's not much for you guys to do around here, so please go home after you finish your tea.
Man, you're so mean today, Lucy,
Natsu said, leaning back in his chair. Happy agreed after taking a sip of his tea.
How am I the mean one?
I asked you politely to go home after you finish your tea, Lucy exclaimed just as Natsu leaned back forward.
That's right,
Natsu exclaimed with a grin. Show me all of your celestial spirits.
No.
That will waste a ton of my magical power, Lucy said, crossing her arms over her chest.
How many spirits do you have, Lucy?
Happy asked, setting his teacup down. I have 6 in total, Lucy answered, as she pulled out her celestial gate keys. These silver ones are the ones that you can buy in stores, Horologium the clock, Crux the Southern Cross, and Lyra the Liar. Lucy put away her silver keys and held up her gold ones. These gold keys are extremely rare. They open the gates of the ecliptic zodiac. I have 3 gold keys: Taurus the Bull, Aquarius the Water Bearer, and Cancer the Crab. Crab! Both Natsu and Happy yelled in excitement. Of course you two get excited over the stupidest thing. Lucy groaned, as ran her hand down her face. Actually, now that I think about it, I never made a contract with Nicola, the Canis Minor. I bow him Harjan before I caught up with you two. Lucy stood and grabbed the silver key off her keyring. This is perfect timing. I'll show you guys how a celestial spirit mages and celestial spirits make a contract. Sounds awesome, Natsu said in an excited tone as he shot to his feet. Will the contract involve blood seals? Happy asked in a frightened tone. But seals? That sounds kind of painful, Natsu said, rubbing his butt. What the hell are those two talking about? Lucy thought with a sweat drop. We don't need blood seals or anything. Just watch me, you guys, Lucy said, as she closed her eyes and held up the silver key. I am the one who connects the road to the celestial spirit world. Thou shalt respond to my calling and pass through the gate. Natsu and Happy went wide-eyed when the room was filled with a bright, blinding light. Open. Gate of the Canis Minor. Nicola. The light intensified as a magic circle formed in front of Lucy. There was a loud poof, and the light began to die down. But what appeared wasn't what Natsu and Happy were expecting. Pun. Pun. A short and stout white creature with bland eyes and a golden horn-like nose said, landing in front of Lucy. That's Nicola, Natsu exclaimed in a shocked tone. The dragon slayer walked up to Lucy and put his hand on her shoulder. Don't feel too bad, Lucy, you'll get it right next time. I did do it right, you jerk, Lucy exclaimed, scooping up the small spirit. She smiled and hugged the spirit. Ah! He's so cute. Puan. What is that thing exactly? Natsu asked with a confused look. Nicola's gate doesn't take much magical power to open, so they're popular as pets, Lucy explained, as she set the small white creature onto the ground. Okay, Natsu said, still slightly confused. Alright, let's move on to the contract, Lucy said, pulling out a pad of paper and a pencil. Pun. The spirit said, nodding its head in agreement. What about Mondays? Lucy asked, causing Pun to shake his head no. Tuesdays? This earned a yes from the spirit. Wednesdays? Another yes from the celestial spirit. This is rather boring, isn't it? Natsu asked with a surprised expression. Happy quickly agreed. I can call you on Thursdays too, awesome. Lucy smiled as she put the paper and pencil away. Okay, contract completed. Poon. The spirit exclaimed as it started to explore the room. Well, that was really easy, Natsu said, walking up next to Lucy. It may be easy, but it's extremely important, Lucy explained, turning to face Natsu. Celestial spirit mages regard promises with the utmost importance. That's why I'll never break my promises. I see, that's pretty cool, Natsu said with a nod of his head. Oh yeah. I should name him, Lucy said, as she looked at the celestial spirit. Isn't its name Nicola? Natsu asked, scratching his head. That's his generic name, Lucy said, rubbing her chin. Suddenly Lucy smiled and kneeled down onto the ground. Come here, Plu. Plu? That's an odd name, Natsu said. Well, I think it sounds cute, right, Plu? Lucy asked the celestial spirit in her arms. Pun. Pooh. Plu said, nodding his head in agreement. Plu is the Canis Minor, right? Why doesn't he go woof, woof? It's really weird, Happy said, with a confused expression.
Well, you're a cat, and you don't say meow, meow.
Lucy shot back, as Plu jumped out of her arms. Suddenly Plu started to dance around, and make various hand gestures. Everyone stared at the celestial spirit with confused looks. What is Plu doing? Lucy asked, as she watched Plu dance around the room. Plu. That's a great idea. Natsu yelled, as he kneeled in front of Plu. No way, he understood what Plu was trying to say. Lucy said in a shocked tone. Celestial spirits, huh? Natsu said, as he looked at Plu. That spirit of yours, Taurus, really helped me back on that mountain. That's right. You should have more respect for celestial spirits. I mean, Taurus' face is still swollen from that kick you gave him. Lucy said, as she slightly glared at Natsu. I didn't you'd be coming with us to rescue Macau. But if you hadn't come with us, Lucy, we would have been in danger. Natsu said with a serious look. You may be weird sometimes, but you're a very reliable person. Ugh, he's still calling me weird. Lucy groaned out in her head. HRMM? Natsu said, rubbing his chin. What is it, Natsu? Lucy asked just as Natsu stood back up. Okay. I've finally made up my mind. I totally agree with Plu's idea. Natsu exclaimed, turning to grin at Lucy. Lucy, you can join my team with Urza. A team? Lucy asked with a shocked look. Happy cheered with a smile. All the members of Fairy Tail are nakama, but we often make teams with the people we get along with. If you're on a team, difficult requests will be easier. Natsu has been on a team with Urza ever since he joined Fairy Tail. They've gone on a ton of missions together. That's a great idea, Natsu. Lucy exclaimed with a wide grin. It'll be fun to go on missions with you. All right, it's decided then. Natsu yelled, as he blew out a small stream of fire. Our contract is sealed then. Lucy said with a smile, as she clapped her hands together. Aye, sir. Happy cheered, jumping into the air. Well, let's get to work then. Natsu exclaimed with a grin, slamming a piece of paper onto the table. Here, I already picked out a mission for us. My, you're working fast. Lucy said with a smile, as she grabbed the request off the table and began to read it. Sure, it's Town, huh? That's pretty close. Lucy's eyes widened when she read the request's reward. Whoa! We just need to get a book from the of someone called the Duke of Everloo, and get 200,000 jewels. Right, it's an easy job, isn't it? Natsu said with a grin. However, Lucy's eyes bugged out when she read the print near the bottom of the request form. The Duke of Everloo. Warning: this man is a womanizer, a pervert, and a hentai. He is now hiring a blonde-haired maid. Lucy began to sweat as she slowly turned to face Happy and Natsu. She saw that they were both grinning at each other. Lucy has blonde hair. Natsu said with a wicked grin. Yup. Let's ask her to sneak in as a maid. Happy suggested with a grin of his own. You were planning this from the start, weren't you? Yes and no, Natsu said with a smirk as he rubbed his chin. I was already planning on letting you join my team with Urza, but then I saw this request. I knew that you'd probably never agree to do this mission. So I had to trick you. Natsu's explained as his smirk widened. I hear celestial spirit mages take promises and contracts very seriously. That's very admirable. You tricked me, how cruel. Lucy exclaimed, glaring at Natsu. That's not fair, Natsu, you deceived me. You cheater. Let's get going, Lucy. Natsu said, walking towards her front door. But I don't want to be a maid. Lucy whined, as she slowly trudged behind Natsu. Let's do some rehearsing. Start by calling Happy Master. There is no fucking way I'm saying that to a cat. Back at the Fairy Tail Guild Hall, Levy and the rest of Team Shadowgear stood in front of the request board. The small girl was flanked on both sides by her longtime partners Jet and Droy. HRM?
That job at Everloo Mansion for 200,000 jewels is gone. Levi said with a pout. Did someone take it already? Yes, Natsu took it and said he'll take Lucy with him.
Mira Jane said with a smile, as she picked up a few empty beer mugs. I was thinking about taking that mission. Levi said, hanging her head in disappointment.
Levi, maybe it's best that you didn't take that job. Makarov said from his spot on the bar. A.H. Master Makarov. Levi exclaimed in surprise. That job just became a whole lot more troublesome.
I just got in touch with client.
Is the job cancelled? Mira Jane asked with a raised eyebrow.
No, Makarov answered as a smirk spread across his face. The reward has been raised to 2 million jewels, or so I was told. A collective gasp was heard around the guild, as everyone's eyes widened at this new information.
That's 10 times more. Levi exclaimed in complete shock. 2 million jewels for one book. Jet yelled with wide eyes. Why all of the sudden?
Mira Jane stuttered out, as fear filled her body.
Natsu, please stay safe. That's almost the same reward as a subjugation mission, what's going on? Droy asked, turning to his teammates. TCH, we missed a good mission. Levi said with a pout.
Seems things are starting to get interesting around here. Gray said with a smirk, as he took a drag of his cigarette, and yes, Gray does smoke in the early chapters of the manga. So he will be smoking occasionally in this story. On the outskirts of Magnolia, Lucy, Natsu, and Happy were on a carriage bound for Shiritsum town. In the carriage, Lucy interlocked her fingers, and rested her head on her hands while she smirked at Natsu. The Dragon Slayer sat across from her, clutching his stomach in pain. Lucy had refused to help Natsu with his motion sickness on this trip. The Celestial Spirit Mage was still a little peeved at Natsu, and decided that this was adequate revenge. How are you feeling on this carriage, Master? Lucy asked with a smirk, emphasizing the word carriage.
I think I can already see a maid from the afterlife.
Natsu groaned out, as sweat poured off his body.
I am role-playing as your master. Happy shouted with an annoyed look. Shut up, you stupid cat.
Lucy exclaimed, before she rested her head against her seat.
Ugh, this is gonna be a long trip.
Lucy thought, as she heard Natsu continue to moan in pain and Happy shout orders at her.
Actually, now that I think about it, this is gonna be a pretty easy mission, isn't it? Lucy asked, tapping a finger to her chin. Huh? You seem to be rather interested in this job considering you didn't really like the idea. Happy said with a confused look. Of course. It's my first mission after all.
Lucy exclaimed with a smile, as she flexed and put a hand her bicep.
I'll do my best. All I have to do is sneak into the mansion and get one book, right? Lucy asked Happy.
Yep, all you have to do is sneak into that perverted, old farts mansion.
Happy answered, raising his paw. Well, I'm pretty confident in my sexiness.
Lucy said as she gave a sultry look and pushed up her breasts, emphasizing their size. Ugh, I hate doing things like this for old perverts. I'd much rather use my sex appeal on you, Natsu.
Lucy thought with a slight blush dusting her cheeks. That's not understandable from a cat's point of view. Happy explained, making Lucy sweat drop.
But let me tell you one thing, for this job, since you guys won't be doing a whole lot, we'll split the reward 7:2:1, Lucy said.
Oh, you're okay with one? Happy asked with a smile. No. I'm taking 7. Lucy yelled with an annoyed look. Jay, just hold on a minute, Happy and I have stuff to do, too. Natsu stuttered out in a weak voice. Oh, and what would that be? Lucy asked with a skeptical look. We'll rescue you when you get caught. Natsu said, earning a glare from Lucy. I won't be making a mistake like that.
Lucy said with an indignant expression. Lucy, calm down, Natsu groaned out.
You never know what could happen on a mission. I'm just looking out for you, I want to keep you safe.
Well, I can take care of myself. Lucy said in an annoyed tone as a blush spread across her face. But inside her heart was doing somersaults. Again he goes saying things like this, that just makes my heart beat like crazy. Lucy thought, as she smiled softly at Natsu. Oh God. I think I'm gonna hurl. Natsu exclaimed after the carriage went over a particularly nasty bump in the road. I think that's enough punishment for now, Lucy said, as she patted her lap. Come on Natsu, lay your head down. Thank you Lucy, you're too kind. I thought why you were gonna stay mad at me. Natsu moaned out, as he switched sides and laid his head onto Lucy's lap. Oh Natsu, I could never stay mad at you, Lucy thought with a warm smile, as she ran her fingers through Natsu's hair. 3 hours later. We're finally here, Lucy exclaimed, as she stepped off the carriage. Ugh, I'm never riding a carriage ever again, Natsu said with a groan, holding his still aching stomach. You say that every time we ride in a carriage Natsu, Happy said, looking up at the dragon slayer. Anyways, I'm hungry. Let's find a restaurant and go get something to eat, Natsu said, as he began to search for any nearby restaurants. How about the hotel? Why don't we put our stuff away first? Happy suggested. I'm not really that hungry, Lucy said, before she gave Natsu a confused look. Why don't you just eat your own fire or lightning? What are you saying? Natsu asked with a grossed out look. Would you eat toros or plu? Of course not, Lucy exclaimed with a horrified look. Well, it's pretty much the same thing with my fire and lighting, Natsu explained, causing Lucy to sigh. You can't eat your own fire or lightning? That's pretty annoying, Lucy said with a shrug. I'll go and check out the town for a bit. You two go eat. Wait, Natsu called out, but it was too late. Lucy had already taken off down the street. What the? It's more fun when we all eat together, Natsu said in a slightly sad tone. Happy agreed. Well, let's get something to eat Natsu. Sure thing Happy. I saw a restaurant right over there, Natsu said, as he walked towards the restaurant with Happy in tow. 10 minutes later Natsu and Happy were tearing into their food. Natsu was chowing down on a large turkey leg, while Happy was eating a decent-sized fish. Hey Happy, remember to save some for Lucy. I bet she's gonna be hungry later, Natsu said, as he set some food off to the side for Lucy. Okay, she looks like she loves oily stuff, Happy said with a smile. Since when did I say that I liked oily stuff? A voice said from behind Natsu and Happy. Natsu nearly choked on the turkey in his mouth when he saw what Lucy was wearing. The celestial spirit mage was now dressed in a small maid's outfit. Sigh. I do look good in just about anything, Lucy said with a sexy wink. Natsu just continued to stare at Lucy. He couldn't stop his eyes from raking up and down her form, as he drank in her beauty. The dragon slayer could feel his face heating up, as images of Lucy filled his mind. How is your meal, sir? Lucy asked in sexy tone. If you're still eating, please take your time. Oh God, does she even realize what she's doing to me? Natsu thought, as he felt his erection straining against his pants. This is almost as bad as when she only wearing a towel earlier. Oh no, Natsu. I was just kidding about the maid thing earlier. But she went and took it seriously, Happy whispered in a panicked tone. Happy's words snapped Natsu out of his daze. Well, we can't tell her it was only a joke anymore. We'll just have to go with it, Natsu whispered back to Happy. But I really don't mind it. Hey! I heard all of that, Lucy screamed with an annoyed look. Well Lucy, let's going, Natsu said, putting some money on the table. Sure, whatever you say, Lucy said with an upset look. Shit, she's mad at me again, Natsu groaned in his head. Ugh, there's that feeling again. I have to try make this up to her later. After walking through Shiritsum Town, Natsu, Lucy, and Happy found themselves in front of the home of their client.
Wow, this is a magnificent mansion,
Lucy said in awe of the massive building.
Is it the Duke of Everloose? No, it's actually the client's mansion,
Natsu asked, as they walked up to the front door.
That's right.
Someone who's willing to pay 200,000 jewels for a book must be rich,
Lucy commented, just as Natsu started to knock on the door. May I have your name, please?
A voice from inside the mansion asked.
We're from the Mage Guild Fairy Dash.
Natsu was cut off when the voice from inside the mansion spoke up again.
SHHH. Be quiet, please,
the voice from inside the mansion yelled.
Excuse me, but can you enter from the back door, please?
Lucy and Natsu shared a confused look before they shrugged and walked around the mansion. Entering through the back door, Natsu and Lucy spotted an older man and woman waiting for them.
I'm terribly sorry about earlier. I'm your client, Katie Mellon,
Katie said with a smile, gesturing for Natsu and Lucy to enter the mansion.
And this is my wife. Katie and his wife led Natsu, Lucy, and Happy into the living room.
Natsu, Lucy, and Happy sat on one couch, while Katie sat across from them.
Your name sounds delicious, Natsu said with grin, patting his belly. Mellon,
Happy cheered, as he jumped into the air.
Natsu. Happy. That's rude, Lucy hissed in a low tone. Ha ha. People tell me that all the time, Katie said with a smile. Mellon? And this town's name, I know I've heard of them somewhere,
Lucy thought, as she rubbed her chin. I never thought a mage from the famous fairy tale guild would accept my request, Katie said in a slightly surprised tone.
Really?
I was wondering why such an awesome job was still available,
Natsu said with a toothy grin. You're really young, so you must be a famous mage, Katie commented, gesturing to Natsu. Natsu was nicknamed the Salamander,
Happy said with a smile.
Oh. Then I have definitely heard of you,
Katie said, as he turned his head to look at Lucy.
And this is? I'm a fairy tale mage too, Lucy exclaimed in an annoyed tone. Then is that outfit your hobby or something? No, I mean it's okay, but,
Katie said, giving Lucy a skeptical look.
Kinda wanna go home now, Lucy said, hanging her head in disappointment.
Natsu felt a pain in chest, and he knew that he had to cheer Lucy up.
Oh, don't worry, Lucy. You look great,
Natsu said with a thumbs up.
Thanks, Natsu,
Lucy said with a bright smile, perking back up.
Alright, now, let's talk about the job, Katie said, intertwining his fingers. Sweet, let's get to it, Natsu said, leaning forward. There is only one thing that I want you to do,
Katie explained, as he leaned forward as well.
The one and only copy of Daybreak is in Duke Everloose Mansion. I want you to find it, and burn it to a crisp. So, we don't have to steal it? Natsu asked with a confused look. Well, I'm asking you to destroy someone else's property without their permission, Katie said with a smile. So it basically is stealing in a way. That's weird, I thought you were gonna ask us to bring back a book that he stole from you,
Lucy said in a confused tone.
Burn it to a crisp, huh? I'll just burn the whole damn mansion down, Natsu said, engulfing his right hand in flames. Yeah. That'll be easy, Happy cheered. No.
We'll go to jail for sure,
Lucy exclaimed in a panic. Hey, what is that book anyway?
Who cares?
Natsu exclaimed with a grin. We get 200,000 jewels to burn it. Actually, Katie interjected, getting the fairy tale mage's attention.
The reward has been raised to 2 million jewels.
TTTTTW.
Lucy began to stutter uncontrollably.
2. Happy exclaimed wide-eyed. Million. Natsu yelled, his eyes bugging out. What the hell? You three didn't know about the reward increase? KB asked in an amused tone. 2 million. If we divide that by 3.
Natsu exclaimed, as he tried to calculate the number in his head.
I can't even think of what the number might be. It's easy, Natsu.
I get 1 million, you get 1 million, and the rest is for Lucy. Happy explained, his eyes still wide from the shock.
You're so SMA, hey wait, Happy, that doesn't sound right?
Natsu said with a confused look.
Yeah. That will leave nothing for me, you stupid feline.
Lucy exclaimed, glaring at Happy.
Hey now, please calm down.
KB said with a sweat drop.
Why would you increase it to 2 million all of a sudden?
Lucy asked with a worried look.
That book needs to be destroyed. KB answered in a low tone.
I can't stand that book existing in this world. Lucy's eyes widened when she heard this. But Lucy began to sweat when she felt the temperature in the room increase. She looked beside her to see that Natsu had engulfed his body in flames.
Oh!
Natsu yelled, jumping to his feet and grabbing Lucy's hand.
Let's go, Lucy! I'm all fired up.
Hey! Lucy exclaimed, as she struggled to keep up with Natsu's pace.
He can't stand the existence of a book? What did he mean by that? Lucy thought as Natsu dragged her through the mansion's front doors.
Darling, KB's wife said, looking down at her husband.
Are you sure that we can trust this job to those kids?
Another guild failed this same mission just last week. From the Duke of Everlu's point of view, it was just a failed robbery. But there is no doubt that he has increased his security since then.
Getting into that mansion will be much more difficult.
I know, KB said with a sigh, as he put his head in his hands.
I know that, but I need to have that book destroyed. 5 minutes later.
Excuse me, Lucy said in a cute voice as she stood in front of the gates of the Duke of Everlu's mansion. I'm here to apply for the blonde-haired maid position.
Excuse me, is anyone home? Ha! This'll be so easy.
All I have to do is get in, find this book, burn it, and get 2 million jewels.
Oh, I wonder what I should buy with that much money. Lucy thought with a smirk. I know you can do this, Lucy. Natsu whispered from behind a tree.
Good luck.
Happy said from behind Natsu.
Lucy squeaked when the ground next to her began to rumble. A few moments later, a massive, hideous pink-haired maid burst out of the ground next to Lucy. The maid glared at Lucy, as she towered over the celestial spirit mage.
Oh? You're a maid applicant?
The pink-haired asked with a skeptical look. There's a girl who came here to apply for the maid position, my master. The ground began to rumble again, as a second figure burst out of the hole. A short, ugly, egg-shaped man landed next to the pink-haired maid.
You called me!
The Duke of Everlu exclaimed with a creepy smile.
Oh God, it's him!
Lucy thought, as a shiver ran down her spine.
Let me see you!
The Duke said, as he began to inspect Lucy.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Lucy said, forcing a sweet smile onto her face, but on the inside she was trying not to punch the perverted old man who was eyeing her.
Man, this guy is giving me the creeps. Lucy thought, as she felt goosebumps form all over her body. Just stay calm, Lucy. Ugh. Rejected.
The Duke of Everlu said, as he waved Lucy off dismissively.
Go home, ugly.
Lucy said in an enraged tone, as she prepared to strangle the Duke.
That's it. Time to go home, ugly.
The large, pink-haired maid said, picking Lucy up. For someone as great as I am, the Duke said, as 4 more burst out of the ground around him. Surrounding the Duke of Everlu were the most hideous girls that Lucy and Natsu had ever seen. Only beautiful girls will suit me.
My master. You're flattering us. Thank you for the compliments, master. Go home, ugly. No.
Lucy screamed, as she threw out of the mansion. The Duke and the rest of his maids left as soon as Lucy cleared the mansion's gate. Natsu quickly jumped out, and caught Lucy before she could hit the ground.
The Dragon Slayer immediately noticed that Lucy looked like she was about to cry.
So he gently set her down, so that she could change out of her maid uniform. After changing, Lucy sat with her back pressed to a tree with her knees tucked up to her chest.
"TCH, what an asshole,"
Natsu said, as he crossed his arms over his chest.
"Well, that was pointless, sorry about that, Lucy."
"It's not your fault, Natsu," Lucy said with a sigh. "It's just that guy's sense of beauty is seriously fucking messed up.
I mean, you saw all those other ugly-ass maids, right?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I thought you looked cute in that maid outfit," Natsu said with a slight blush across his face.
Thanks, Natsu, that means a lot to me,"
Lucy said, as she felt her heart nearly leap out of her chest. "Well then, it's a change of plans, time for Operation T," Natsu said with a wicked grin, as he cracked his knuckles.
"I'll never forgive that fucking pervert,"
Lucy exclaimed, raising her fist into the air. Inside the mansion, the Duke of Everloo sat in a chair, smoking a cigar. He was flanked by two tall shadowy figures.
Mages came again in spite of what happened last time. And that mark, it's fairy tale this time.
That bimbo was dumb enough not to hide her guild mark. The Duke grinned, as he leaned forward in his seat.
"Now, how should I kill these mages this time?"
10 minutes later.
"Your wings aren't gonna disappear yet, right?"
Lucy asked, as Happy flew her up to the mansion's roof.
Happy said, as he landed Lucy onto the roof.
"We're here." "Thanks, Happy," Lucy said as she smiled at the blue cat.
"Why the hell do we have sneak in?" Natsu asked in an annoyed tone, as he looked through a window. "Isn't it obvious? Although it's someone's request, what we're doing is basically robbery,"
Lucy explained, putting her hands on her hips.
"Aw man, I wanted to blow the house up and burn the book," Natsu whined with a childish pout.
"No.
I said you can't do that,"
Lucy exclaimed, as she looked at Natsu. "I don't care how many thieves and monsters you've taken out, the target this time is this town's most influential man.
Even if he's an annoying pervert, he's not a villain.
If we do something wrong, the military will take action."
"What now?"
"You were the one who said you'd never forgive him,"
Natsu said, raising a pink eyebrow. "Of course I'd never forgive him.
He said such awful things to me," Lucy said with a tick mark on her head. "So after we burn his book, I'll hide his shoes or something."
"Wow, that's pretty lame," Natsu said in a deadpan tone.
"Either way, no violence," Lucy scolded, wagging her finger at Natsu. Natsu barely paid attention, and stared off into space with a bored look on his face. "What is up with that face?" Lucy exclaimed, as she was about to smack Natsu.
"Your words don't really match your action, you know?"
Natsu said, making Lucy stop mid-swing.
"Well, let's get started then."
With a groan, Natsu made his way over towards a nearby window. Heating up his hand, Natsu started to melt the glass window. Finding the look, the Dragon Slayer flipped it and opened the window.
"Nice job, Natsu,"
Lucy said with a grin, as she followed Natsu into the mansion. Lucy hopped into the room Natsu had opened. It was filled with various miscellaneous items.
"Is this a storage room or something?" Lucy asked no in particular, as she looked around the room. "Hey Natsu, look at me."
Happy cheered, as he put a skull on his head, like a mask.
"Ha! That suits you, Happy," Natsu said with a grin.
"Let's sneak through that door over there."
"Be careful,"
Lucy said, as she made her way towards the closed door.
"Hey Lucy, looky here," Happy said, trying to get Lucy's attention. "Shoo cat," Lucy said, pushing Happy away. "And take that thing off, it's creepy."
Lucy poked her head through the door, and scanned up and down the hall. Spotting no one, she snuck out into the hall, with Natsu and Happy behind her. The trio snuck down the hall to the closest room.
"Hey Lucy, don't tell we're gonna check every single room like this?" Natsu asked in an annoyed tone. "Because I have a really bad urge to blow something up. We are gonna search every room." Lucy hissed, silencing Natsu. And you're not blowing anything up. Wouldn't be faster to find someone and ask them where the book is? Natsu suggested, as they exited a room they had just searched. We'll just complete the mission unnoticed. Doesn't that sound cool? Kinda like ninjas. Lucy said, making Natsu and Happy's eyes shine. Whoa, we can be like ninjas. Natsu said with a grin. Okay, we'll keep doing it your way for now, Lucy.
The floor in front of the fairy tale mages suddenly exploded, as the 5 maids from earlier appeared. They were all brandishing weapons, except for the large pink-haired maid.
We've found the intruders.
The pink-haired maid exclaimed.
Oh shit. Natsu yelled, as he went wide-eyed. They've found us already.
Lucy exclaimed, as she reached for her keys.
Eliminate the intruders.
The pink-haired maid said, as she charged forward. Natsu quickly wrapped his scarf around his face, until only his eyes were showing. The Dragon Slayer then charged towards the advancing maids.
Lightning Dragon's Claw.
A thunderclap resounded throughout the hall, as Natsu hit 4 of the maids with an electrically charged roundhouse kick.
Streaks of electricity filled the air in the wake of Natsu's kick.
I won't let you escape. The pink-haired maid roared, as she prepared to tackle Natsu.
Fire Dragon's Iron Fist.
Natsu wheeled around and punched the gorilla-like maid in the face with a flaming fist. The maid was sent crashing over the railing, onto the floor below them.
What the hell, Natsu?
Lucy exclaimed, as she looked at the carnage that the Dragon Slayer had caused.
We can't let that old pervert know that we're here yet. Neen. Natsu said, as he held up a hand sign. You were so noisy, that he defiantly knows we're here now.
Lucy's eyes widened, as she grabbed Natsu by the back of his vest, and she started dragging him with her.
Shit. I bet someone else is coming after us. Let's head into another room. If they want to come, let them come. Natsu exclaimed with a grin.
Whatever, we just have to hide. Lucy said, as she pulled them into a side room.
That was close. Whoa. Look at all these books.
Natsu said, doing a 360 to look at the vast selection of novels. The Duke of Everloo may look stupid, but he does have a pretty good taste in literature.
Lucy commented, as she scanned through the array of books. If he actually reads all of these, I'll respect him a little bit. All right. Let's find this book.
Natsu exclaimed, as he too started to search through the books.
Oh, I found a really perverted book here.
And there goes any respect I had for him. Lucy said with a sigh, as she put another book back onto the shelf. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to find one book among all these.
What the hell?
This is all words. Natsu said, as he flipped through a book.
That's normal, Natsu.
Happy said, earning a pout from Natsu.
Well, they could at least put a few pictures in.
Natsu said, putting the book back on the shelf.
Oh, HEY. I found it.
Lucy went wide-eyed when she saw Natsu hold up a golden book. She raced across the room, and took the book from Natsu.
Are we really allowed to find it so easily?
Lucy asked, as she stared at the book in her hands.
All right, let's burn it then.
Natsu said, as he held up a flaming hand.
Wait a minute.
Lucy exclaimed, as she read the book's author.
This author is Kimuzalian. Kimuzalian?
Happy parroted with a confused look.
He was a mage as well as an author.
Lucy said with stars in her eyes, as she held the book over her head.
I'm a huge fan of his. I thought that I read all of his books. Does this mean this one is one of his unpublished works? Whatever it is, let's burn it.
Natsu said, making Lucy hold the book protectively.
What are you talking about? This book is cultural heritage. There's no way we can just burn it.
Lucy exclaimed, as she backed away from Natsu.
You're abandoning your job, Lucy. Happy commented, earning a glare from Lucy.
Hey! I said I was a big fan of his.
Lucy yelled, waving her fist. Now you're angry at us. Happy said with a sigh. Why don't we just pretend that we burned it? Then I can keep the book. Lucy suggested with a hopeful look. Sorry, Lucy, but I don't like to lie. Natsu said, shaking his head. Did you hear me? This is the only copy of this book in the whole world. If we burn it, I won't be able to read it. Lucy explained, trying to convince Natsu. I see.
A voice from underneath the trio said. The ground next to Natsu and Lucy burst, as the Duke of Everloo burst out. So that's what you're after. See, this is what happens when you hesitate. Natsu said, as he stood in front of Lucy protectively. Sorry, Lucy said sheepishly. I was wondering what all those mages were searching for. The Duke said, landing in front of Natsu. And it was just that useless book. Worthless book? Lucy said with a confused look. The client was willing to pay 2 million jewels to destroy this book. And the owner Everloo said it's worthless. So can I keep it then? Lucy asked with a hopeful look. No, the Duke replied in a snotty tone. Regardless of how worthless that book is, it still belongs to me. You're a stingy old pervert. Lucy shot back, as she glared at Everloo. Shut up, ugly. Everloo shouted, making a tick mark form on Lucy's head. All we have to do is burn the book, and we'll be done here. Natsu said with a bored look. No. We're absolutely not burning this book. Lucy exclaimed, hugging the book close. Lucy! Natsu exclaimed, startling the celestial spirit mage. I know that this book is special to you, and under any other circumstance I would let you keep it. But it is our job to destroy it. Then at least let me read it first. Lucy said, dropping to the ground and opening the book. Here. Right now. Natsu exclaimed in shock. Bullshit. I don't like this one bit. How dare you touch a book that belongs to the Duke of Everloo? The Duke exclaimed, as he gave a hand signal. Come, vanish brothers. A set of bookcases next to Natsu began to part, revealing a set of stairs. Descending the stairs were a pair of shadowy figures. One of the figures was extremely tall, while the other one was average height. It's finally time for us to get down to business. The shorter figure said. If we got paid without doing actual work, Mama would get mad at us. The taller figure said. When the shorter figures came into the light, Happy gasped. The shorter figure had a mostly shaved head, with a long dark-haired braided ponytail, reaching down to his back. He was wearing a white and green tunic, and a pair of black pants. He was also carrying a massive frying pan. The larger figure had dark curly hair that jutted out in 4 tufts, with a red and black bandana tied around his forehead. He was wearing a blue and yellow sweatshirt, and a pair of light blue pants. But what stuck out the most were the cloth bands tied around both figures' arms. The cloth had a picture of Wolf on it. Good afternoon, everyone. The smaller man greeted, with the frying pan behind his back. These pipsqueaks are fairy tale mages? The larger man said in a skeptical tone. Look at those bands on their arms. Happy exclaimed, pointing to the cloth on both men's arms. They're from the mercenary guild Southern Wolf. So he hired guys like that, huh? Natsu said, as he stared down the mercenaries. Souther wolves are always hungry. Prepare to die, you fools. Everloo cheered, as the mercenaries walked past him. While this whole exchange went on, Lucy continued to read Daybreak. Everyone stared at the blonde in shock. Hey! They all yelled in unison. Is this some kind of joke? The shorter mercenary asked with a tick mark. They claim to be fairy tale mages? The larger mercenary asked, with a sweat drop. Vanish, brother. Get my book back, and kill these brats. Everloo exclaimed in an angry tone. This, Lucy said as she shot to her feet. She quickly started to make her way towards the door. Natsu!
Buy me some time. This book seems to hold some kind of secret. Sure thing, Lucy,
Natsu said with a grin, as he turned to face the vanished brothers.
Like I said, I've been dying to blow something up. A secret, huh? Everlu said, scratching his chin. Secret? I didn't notice anything when I read it. And might there be a treasure map or something?
Everlu thought, as $signs flashed in his eyes.
IIVE got to act quick. Change of plans.
Everlu exclaimed, as he started to tunnel into the ground.
I'll go after the girl. You two stay, and destroy this brat. Selfish clients wear me out, brother.
The smaller mercenary said.
Yeah, for real. The larger mercenary agreed. Happy, go and help Lucy. Natsu said, making Happy's eyes widen.
Your opponents are two of the southern wolves.
Happy exclaimed in a worried tone. I'm gonna stay and help you. TCH, just myself will do.
I'll be finished with these bastards in time flat. Natsu said, as he started to stretch.
Ha! You bastard. I'm gonna tell Mama.
The large mercenary exclaimed in anger.
Calm down, brother, we'll deal with this trash.
The shorter mercenary said, holding out his hand and blocking the larger mercenary.
All right, Natsu, be careful. Happy yelled as he flew off to find Lucy. Sure thing. Keep Lucy safe,
Natsu said, as he waved to Happy over his shoulder.
Come on, fire mage.
The smaller mercenary said, challenging Natsu.
How did you know that I use fire? Natsu asked the mercenary. We saw just about everything on a surveillance lacrima.
The mercenary explained.
That blonde girl is a key holder type. A celestial spirit mage, isn't she? With 7 keys.
The cat that flies with wings in the sky and no doubt an ability type, wings. And you melted glass and took out that pink-haired maid with a flame-covered fist.
You're most likely an ability type, a flame mage. You observed us fairly well, Natsu said with a grin. But I guess you didn't notice that I can also use lightning magic.
Natsu held up a hand, and engulfed it red-hot flames.
The smaller mercenary smirked in amusement. I guess that means you're prepared to end up completely charred, right? Natsu asked, as he clenched his flaming fist. Unfortunately, I'll have to decline. The smaller mercenary replied, pulling out his massive frying pan. Because flame mages are easiest kind of opponents for me. Is that so? Natsu asked with a bored look.
But then a wicked grin spread across his face, as he replaced the fire surrounding his fist with coursing electricity.
What about lightning? What? The smaller mercenary yelled in shock.
Oh, you must have missed that I can use fire and lightning magic, the dragon said, as his grin widened.
Electricity traveled along Natsu's hand towards his fingers.
The electricity spelled the words "come on" along Natsu's fingertips. You two are in trouble, because now I'm all fired up.
Natsu inhaled deeply, causing electricity to spark around his mouth. Both mercenaries stepped back in fear, as Natsu's cheeks swelled with powerful electricity.
The air in the room filled with static electricity, making the mercenary's hair stand on end. A ring of raw lightning formed around Natsu, as he cupped his hands over his mouth, forming a funnel.
Lightning dragon's roar. A deafening thunderclap was heard, as Natsu fired a massive beam of concentrated lightning from his mouth.
The smaller mercenary raised his frying pan to block the lightning, which proved to be a horrible mistake. As soon as the lightning hit the large frying pan, the mercenary howled in pain. He began to shake violently, as lightning coursed through the frying pan into his body. After a few more moments of shaking, the smaller mercenary fell over unconscious.
Big brother!
The larger mercenary screamed, as he watched his brother spasm slightly from the electricity still in his body.
I'll kill you! You son of a bitch! Oh! You want to play now too? Natsu asked with a feral grin, as he took a fighting stance.
The large mercenary swung his fist wildly at the dragon slayer in a blind fury.
but Natsu easily ducked underneath the sloppy punch. He quickly coated his fist in flames as he came back up. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Natsu delivered a powerful flaming uppercut that sent the larger mercenary into the air. One more, to finish this guy off. Again Natsu inhaled deeply, but this time flames surrounded his mouth. The temperature in the room rose drastically, as Natsu's cheeks swelled with searing fire.
The dragon once again formed a funnel over his mouth, a ring of red-hot flames surrounding him.
Fire Dragon's Roar.
A stream of scorching flames was shot at the, still, airborne mercenary. The fire hit the mercenary, causing a blinding explosion.
Glass shattered and books were scattered everywhere, as the explosion destroyed the whole room. Welp, I may have overdid it again, Natsu said, rubbing the back of his head. I better go find Lucy and Happy.
The dragon slayer never noticed that the pink-haired maid's eyes shot open. Same time, in another part of the mansion.
Lucy was slightly sweating as she flipped through the last few pages of Daybreak.
Her Gale Force reading glasses allowed her to read the book at a remarkable speed.
Finishing the last sentence, Lucy closed the book.
With a sigh, took off her glasses and rested her head against the wall she was sitting against.
The celestial spirit mage had hidden in the sewers underneath the mansion.
I had no idea that this book held such a secret, Lucy said, looking down at the book in her hands.
I can't burn this book. I have to give it to Katie-san. Lucy stood up and was prepared to look for Natsu.
But a voice coming from the walls stopped her in her tracks.
Ha, ha.
Using Gale Force reading glasses, the voice said, as a pair of arms shot out of the wall behind Lucy.
You really are a great reader, aren't you?
Shit! Lucy exclaimed, as a hand wrapped around her wrists.
A clanking sound was heard when Lucy's keys fell to the floor. Now brat, do tell. What did you find in that book?
Everlew asked, as his head appeared next to Lucy's hips. Lucy grunted in pain, as Everlew pulled her arms back painfully.
What is the book's secret?
Why, you're a pathetic piece of trash, Lucy said through clenched teeth, pain shooting through her body.
You are an enemy of literature. An enemy of literature? You're saying this me? A great and highly educated man. Everlew exclaimed angrily. How can a man who is happy to have a bunch of ugly-ass maids be highly educated? Lucy insulted, making Everlew pull her arms back even farther. Don't insult my beautiful maids, you hag,
Everlew exclaimed, causing Lucy's eye to twitch.
If you don't tell me the secret, I'll break your arms. Go to hell, you bastard,
Lucy exclaimed, as she fought against Everlew's strong grip.
That is my book. I made Kimuzalian write it. Everlew roared in an angry tone. So the secret of the book is mine too. Lucy looked at her feet and spotted her keys next to her right foot.
When Lucy raised her head back up, she had a smirk on her face.
Now Happy.
Who are yo? Everlew was cut off when Happy flew in, kicking him in the face. The force of the kick caused Everlew to release Lucy from his grasp. Lucy jumped away from the Duke and grabbed her gate keys off the ground.
That was awesome, Happy, Lucy exclaimed with a wide grin. No problem, Lou A.H.
Happy screamed, as his momentum carried him into the sewage behind Lucy.
Geez, what the hell is up with that cat?
Everlew grunted out, as he wiped dust of his suit.
The tables have turned, you old pervert. If you give me this book, I may forgive you. Though I promise to punch you at least once,
Lucy said with a grin, as she held up a golden gate key.
Oh ho! You're a celestial spirit mage, huh? Everlew asked, mirroring Lucy's grin. You say you're a fan of literature, yet you're using that phrase wrong.
You should only say the tables have turned when your position has turned from a disadvantage to an advantage.
Everlew smirked as he began to sink into the ground. Anyhow, you won't be able to beat my earth magic just because you have a cat now.
So he was using magic,
Happy said, pulling himself out of the sewage. Wait. Everlew is a mage as well? I was written in this book.
Lucy exclaimed, as she dodged an uppercut from Everloo.
This is an awful adventure novel with Everloo as the main character. It's wonderful that I'm the main character.
But the rest of the book is trash,
Everloo said, diving in and out of the ground. He is Kimu's alien, yet he wrote this piece of shit. Outrageous.
You forced him to write this book, you bastard.
How can act all high and mighty?
Lucy exclaimed, as she ducked behind a grate. But she had to quickly dodge, as Everloo came crashing through the grate head first.
I am high and mighty, you brat,
Everloo said with a grin, shaking the debris of himself.
Everloo then started to tunnel back into the ground. Kimu's alien should have been honored to write a book about me.
You threatened to withdraw the citizenship of his whole family, if he didn't write this stupid book,
Lucy yelled in an angry tone. Well, in the end, Kimu gave up and wrote it.
Everloo exclaimed, as his hand burst through the ground and grabbed Lucy's leg. Since he first rejected to write the book, I made him write it in a solitary cell.
Ha, ha.
I crushed his pride as a distinguished writer.
That's it, I've had enough of your egotistical bullshit,
Lucy screamed as she stomped on Everloo's hand repeatedly, her heeled shoes stabbing through his palm.
Gah!
You bitch! Everloo roared, as he held his profusely bleeding hand.
How far will you go just to get what you want?
Lucy yelled, leveling a fierce glare on Everloo. Can you possibly imagine how Kimu felt, being in that solitary cell for 3 damn years?
He realized my greatness, finally,
Everloo grunted out, as a maniacal smile spread across his face.
Fuck you!
Lucy roared, making Everloo flinch in fear. He had to fight with his own pride. If he didn't write your stupid fucking book, his family would have been in danger. But writing a book about a jackass like you, a writer's pride wouldn't allow him to write such filth.
How do you know all this?
Everloo asked, his eyes narrowed.
It's all written in this book, Lucy said, holding up Daybreak. Impossible.
I've read that book, cover to cover.
Kimu's alien never appeared in it once,
Everloo said in a confused tone.
Of course, this is just an awful story for a fan if you read it the normal way, Lucy said, making Everloo's eyes widen. But you should know about it, too. Kimu's alien started off as a mage. He used the last of his magical power to cast a spell onto this book. Did that bastard make it so that sentences of his enemy would show up after releasing the magic? Unforgivable,
Everloo thought, as a vein bulged on his head.
The process to completing this book is written in it. But that's not what Kimu's alien wanted to leave behind in this book. The real truth is something else,
Lucy said, as she held up a golden zodiac gate key.
That's why I won't let you have this book. You don't have the right to own it. Open. Gate of the Crab. Cancer. A magical circle formed around Lucy.
A moment later, a spirit with black hair, braided in red cornrows ending in a shape similar to a crab's pincers. He wore a blue striped shit, with black pants.
The spirit also had 6 crab-like legs protruding from his back.
His main weapons appeared to be 2 pairs of scissors.
A crab!
Happy exclaimed, his mouth watering.
I bet he'll say Connie at the end of his sentences. I'm 100% sure. He is a crab after all. I know it, it's expected. Happy, I want to concentrate, Lucy said in an annoyed tone. If you don't shut up, I'll pinch your paw. Lucy, Cancer said, getting Lucy's attention. What kind of hairstyle would you like today, Abby? Abby? Can't you see that what's going on right now? Lucy exclaimed in shock. This is a fight. Cut that ugly bastard's mustache off. Okay, Abby, Cancer said, advancing on Everloo. A secret? There's still something else she hasn't told me? Could Zalian have written about the illegal nature of my businesses?
Everloo thought, as he began to panic.
Shit. If that book is passed on to the Magic Council, I'm doomed. And oh.
Everloo roared, as he pulled a golden key out of his pocket. The blood from the hole in his hand dripped from his hand onto the floor.
Open. Gate of the Virgin.
Virgo.
Eh?
Lucy gasped, as a magical circle formed around Everloo.
He can use the same type of magic as Lucy. Happy exclaimed in a shocked tone. How may I help you, Maymaster?
The massive pink-haired maid from before said, as she burst out of the ground in front of Everloo.
Virgo. Get that book back from that bitch at once.
Everloo exclaimed with a twisted grin.
She's a celestial spirit.
Lucy exclaimed, as she held Daybreak close to her chest.
How the fuck did I get here? Everyone gasped when they say Natsu in the air above Virgo.
The Dragon Slayer had a tight grip onto the back of Virgo's outfit.
Natsu! Lucy yelled in complete and utter shock.
Why were you with Virgo? Everyone exclaimed with wide eyes.
You? How?
Lucy stuttered out, trying to comprehend the situation.
How?
She started to attack me all of a sudden. Natsu explained in a frightened tone.
As Natsu explained the situation, realization started to dawn on Lucy.
After I dodged one of her attacks, I grabbed onto her outfit. Then she started to glow, there was a bright flash of light, now I'm here.
I don't know what the hell is going on here. Lucy, I'm scared, can you hold me? Don't tell me.
Lucy exclaimed, as his eyes widened.
You, a human, passed through the celestial spirit world. That's not possible. Lucy, what the hell should I do? Natsu yelled, as he still held onto Virgo.
Virgo! Get rid of this pest quick! Everloo shouted, pointing at Natsu.
Natsu, take her out!
Lucy exclaimed, as she reached for her whip.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Natsu said with a wicked grin, as his entire head became engulfed in flames.
Eat this, you gorilla! Fire Dragon's sword horn!
Natsu delivered a savage, flaming headbutt, sending Virgo crashing to the ground knocked out. The Dragon Slayer smirked, as he stood over Virgo triumphantly.
What? Everloo exclaimed in shock, as Lucy's whip wrapped around his neck. I won't let you escape underneath the ground anymore.
Lucy exclaimed, as she tightened the whip's hold on Everloo.
You!
Lucy twirled Everloo around, and threw him into the air. Cancer jumped up and attacked Everloo, shredding his clothes, and cutting off all his hair.
Shouldn't be more than a supporting character. Lucy, how to like his hair cut a bee? Cancer asked with a grin. It's perfect, Cancer, you can go now.
Lucy said with smile, as Cancer disappeared.
You did an amazing job, Lucy.
Natsu exclaimed, wrapping his arm around Lucy's shoulders, causing a blush to spread across her face.
You are a true fairy tale mage, through and through. Aye, sir. Thanks, Natsu, happy.
Lucy said, as she felt tears of joy form in her eyes, as she clutched Daybreak close to her chest.
You be bitch. Everloo grunted, as he struggled to his feet. You!
Natsu exclaimed, as ran up to Everloo and grabbed him by his collar.
You hurt Lucy. And you made fun of her. Fury was evident on Natsu's face as he held up a flaming fist. I'm gonna teach you a lesson you'll never forget. No, Natsu. Lucy said, grabbing onto Natsu's shoulder, startling the Dragon Slayer.
Natsu turned his head to look at Lucy, he was surprised to see a smirk on her face.
Let me do it. Be my guest.
Natsu said with a grin, as he stepped aside. I made a promise that I'd punch you at least once. Lucy said, as she cocked her fist back. And celestial mages always keeps their promises.
What? I'll give you anything you want. Everloo pleaded. Too late for that. Lucy's fist shot forward, and collided with Everloo's jaw. Natsu winced, as he heard Everloo's jaw break.
Everloo's head slammed into the ground, causing him to fall unconscious. Lucy spit on Everloo, as she dusted off her hands.
Fucking pervert.
Whoa, Natsu said in a low tone.
That was pretty hot. Alright Natsu, let's get out of here, Lucy said, as she headed towards the exit. Sure thing, Lucy, Natsu said with a smile, as he ran after the celestial spirit mage. 20 minutes later, back at KB's mansion. What are you doing? KB asked in shock, as Lucy offered him the book. I thought I asked you to incinerate that book. If you want to destroy it, it's not that hard, KB-san, Lucy said, as KB took the book from her hands. Fine, I'll destroy it myself, KB said, glaring at the book. I don't even want to look at it. I know why you can't tolerate this book's existence, Lucy said, making KB's eyes widen. It's to protect your father's pride. You're the son of Kimu's alien, aren't you? No way, Natsu exclaimed in surprise. How did you know? KB asked, as he lowered his head. Have you ever read this book? Lucy asked KB. No. I've only heard about it from my father, KB replied, shaking his head. But it'd be a waste of time to read this trash. My father told me that this book is his worst piece of work. Is that why you're gonna burn that book? Natsu asked, his eye twitching. Yes, KB replied, but he jumped when Natsu rushed forward. Burning it just because it's a bad book? What the fuck are you thinking? Huh? Natsu exclaimed in a rage. Luckily Lucy stopped him before he could do anything rash. Her touch seemed to work, as Natsu settled down. Natsu, I told you. It's to protect his father's pride. Now apologize right now, Lucy scolded the Dragon Slayer. Much like with Urza, Lucy's scolding seemed to work wonders. Moments after Lucy had yelled at him, Natsu was apologizing to KB. It's alright, my boy, KB said with a small smile. Yes, my father was ashamed to have written Daybreak. 31 years ago my father returned home after being gone of over 3 years. Flashback, 31 years ago. I'm home, finally, Kimu's alien said, as he entered his home. Dad. KB gasped in shock, his father walking past him. You haven't contacted us for 3 years. Where were you writing that book at? Kimu said nothing, as he rifled through a chest in the back of his home. KB's eyes widened when he saw his father tie rope around his arm. I'm done for, Kimu said, tightening the knot around his arm. I'm going to quit being a writer. Wait. Father. What are you doing? KB exclaimed, as he watched his father hoist an hatchet into the air. I'll never write another book again, Kimu exclaimed, as he swung the axe. Dad. KB exclaimed in a panic as he watched his father cut off his own hand. Hours later Kimu awoke in his bed. He looked to his side, spotting his son standing at his bedside. You're here, KB, Kimu said with a weak smile. Heh, you've grown a little. You're an idiot, didn't I tell you 3 years ago that you'd regret writing such a terrible book? KB exclaimed in anger. True, Kimu said with a small smile. How could you write about a perverted man like Everloo? KB asked, his rage growing. Well, the pay was good, Kimu replied with a smirk. You're really pathetic sometimes, KB exclaimed, as he clenched his teeth. Yeah. That book ended up being the worst pile of trash that I'd ever written, Kimu said with a chuckle. You abandoned your family for 3 years, to write that piece of shit. What was on your mind? KB asked, shaking in rage. You were always on my son, Kimu answered, smiling at his son. You could have written something for the book and came home earlier. You've thrown away both your pride as an author and your family, KB exclaimed, making his father frown. You made a smart choice when you said you'd stop being an author. Someone with no pride can never be a writer nor a father. KB turned his back on his father and exited the room silently. Back to the present. Right after that my father took his own life, KB explained as he looked down at the book in his hands. I hated him even after he passed away.
I hated him because he was too weak to stand up for himself.
KB sighed, as he reached into his pocket.
But as time passed, I came to regret the words that I had said that day.
Maybe if I hadn't said those awful things, my father wouldn't have taken his life.
That's why I wanted to destroy this terrible book from the world. Only with this atonement can he regain his pride as a writer.
KB pulled a box of matches from his pocket and lit one. Now father will.
Wait! Lucy exclaimed, as the book began to glow.
What is going on?
KB asked in shock, as the letters of the book's title began to rearrange themselves.
The letters are flying.
Happy exclaimed, as he ducked underneath the floating letters.
Zequa Melon, under the alias Kimu's Alien, cast a spell on this book. Lucy explained, making KB's eyes widen.
A spell? KB stuttered out, as the book's title rearranged to spell Dear KB. Yes, he cast a spell that shuffled the letters in the book,
including its contents, and everything else.
KB gasped, as the book opened up, and its words flew throughout the room. Whoa, Natsu said, as he marveled at the floating letters. He grinned like a child, as he started to poke the flying words. The reason Zequa quit being a writer was not only because he wrote the worst book ever, but probably because he also wrote the best book in existence. Lucy said with a smile.
Amazing!
Natsu exclaimed, as the words began to fly back into the book.
The best book, which contains letters to KB-san.
Lucy said, as the book closed again.
You were always on my mind.
Those words suddenly rang through KB's head.
That is what Kimu's Alien truly wanted to leave behind.
Lucy explained, as KB grabbed the newly formed book.
Dad!
KB said, as he felt tears flow down his cheeks. He flipped through the book, and started to read its new contents.
I never, really, understood him.
Of course.
Lucy said, smiling at KB.
If you understand how a writer's mind works, you'll never find pleasure in reading a book.
Thank you. I can't burn this book now.
KB said with a smile, as he wiped away his tears. Well then we don't need a reward either.
Natsu with a toothy grin. I agree. Happy cheered, following Natsu's lead.
KB said in surprise.
Huh?
Lucy asked in shock, as she looked at Natsu.
We were tasked to destroy that book, Natsu explained.
And we failed to accomplish our mission.
And no. But, we can't do it that way.
KB said, trying to reason with the Dragon Slayer. No, young man, we have to give you something.
KB's wife said, agreeing with her husband. He's right, it's his generosity, let's just accept it.
Lucy said with a nervous smile.
You're so greedy, Lucy.
Happy exclaimed with a sweat drop. You were saying such nice things earlier, but now they've all gone down the drain.
Hey! That was different. Lucy yelled at Happy. I said we don't want it, so we don't want it. Natsu said, causing anime tears to flow from Lucy's eyes. Let's get going.
You should go back to your own home too, Melon.
KB's eyes widened as he watched Natsu and Happy walk out the front door. Lucy just stared at the duo, slack-jawed. What the hell is going on?
Lucy exclaimed, as she ran after Natsu.
On the road back to Magnolia. I can't believe you. How could you possibly turn down 2 million jewels just like that? Lucy complained, trudging behind Natsu and Happy. If we accepted the money for something we didn't do, it'll taint Fairy Tail's name.
Natsu explained, earning a pout from Lucy.
But everything turned out so well, who care? Lucy asked in an annoyed tone.
***, they weren't rich after all. He said that he borrowed the house from his friend to make himself look rich.
But we would have accepted the job even if he hadn't done that. Really? Happy asked with a skeptical look.
Of course. Lucy exclaimed, but then she muttered probably under her breath.
How did you know about the house, Natsu?
Their smell was different from the smell of the house.
Natsu replied, tapping his nose. How do think I found you in Harjan? Why you smelled me?
Lucy squeaked out, as a fierce blush spread across her face.
Yeah, was that bad? Natsu asked with a confused look. And no, it's fine.
Lucy stuttered, as she tried to fight off her blush.
Oh, okay then. Natsu said with a grin. The trio made small talk the rest of the trip towards Magnolia.
When the team reached Lucy's house, Natsu immediately became flustered.
Listen, Luce.
Natsu said, as he scratched the back of his head in embarrassment.
Luce? He's giving me a nickname. Lucy thought, as her face heated up. I'm sorry about breaking into your house the other day.
Natsu apologized, as he looked at the ground.
I shouldn't have done something like that. Oh, that.
Lucy said, a small smile spreading across her face.
It's alright, Natsu, just not next time. No promises, Natsu said with a grin. Chapter 6, The Return of Titania. One day after the Everloo Mansion mission.
Lucy hummed, as she scanned over the various missions on the request board.
Let's see, what would be a good mission to go on with Natsu?
Lucy reached out and grabbed several requests, quickly scanning over each of them.
Searching for a magic bracelet? Boring. Removing a spell from a cursed stick? Lame. Fortune-telling love with astrology?
Lucy's face reddened slightly when she read this request. This mission would be perfect for me, but Natsu wouldn't have anything to do, so nope.
Exterminating a monster on a volcano?
Lucy glanced at Natsu. The dragon slayer was talking with Mira at the bar, and put the request back on the board.
Natsu would love to do that mission, but I don't exactly feel like dying today.
The celestial spirit mage sighed heavily and placed her hands on her hips.
What's wrong, Lucy?
Mira Jane asked, turning away from her conversation with Natsu.
Yeah, Luce, what's up?
Natsu asked, standing up from his seat at the bar.
Are you looking for a job to go on?
Yes, but there's just
so many types of missions to choose from.
Lucy said with a huff, as she grabbed another request form.
I can't seem to find the right one.
Well, if you find a job that interests you, let me know since Master isn't here right now. Mira Jane said with a smile, as she started wiping down the bar. I hope you find something good, Luce, because I'm itching to go on a good mission. Natsu said with a large grin, before he walked over to Elfman on the other side of the guild.
Actually, Mira-san, where is Master?
Lucy asked with a confused look, as she looked at the spot on the bar where Makarov usually sat. He has to attend the regular meeting, so he'll be out for a while.
Mira Jane replied, making Lucy raise a blonde eyebrow. Regular meeting?
Lucy parroted with a confused look. It's a meeting where guild masters from other towns come to give reports about their guilds. Mira Jane explained, making Lucy more confused. It's different from council meeting, but, I guess it can be a bit difficult to understand. Mira Jane tapped a finger to her chin, as she thought of a way better way to explain things to Lucy. She suddenly snapped her fingers, and turned to look at Ritas.
Hey Ritas, can I borrow your light pen? Oui. Ritas answered, handing Mira Jane the magic pen over his shoulder. Lucy, you couldn't have possibly know the organizational chart of the mage world when you just joined a guild, right?
Mira Jane explained, using the light pen to write in the air. Mira Jane hummed happily, as she drew a diagram to use in her explanation. While Mira Jane was drawing, Lucy took a seat at the bar. The beautiful, white-haired barmaid started her explanation again at the top of her diagram. The 10 council members who have connections to the government hold the highest positions in the magical world. They exist to protect order in the mage world. The council also has the power to try mages who commit crimes. Mira Jane then pointed to the middle of her diagram. Guild masters are right underneath the council. Their job is to smoothen communication between guilds in every town, and to notify their guild members about council decisions, as well as bringing them all together. It's quite a difficult job to do. I had no idea that all the guilds were connected. Lucy said, as she turned her head to look back at the request board.
Connections between guilds are important. If neglect these,
Mira Jane said, making Lucy turn her head back to look at her.
evil people from the darkness will come to get you. A dark and demonic voice said from behind Lucy. Kia!
Lucy screamed, as she jumped in her seat.
Ha ha!
You should have seen your dash. Natsu started to laugh, but he was cut off when Lucy's fist came crashing down on his head.
Don't scare me, you bastard!
Lucy yelled, as she panted slightly, her heart racing.
Sorry, Luce, Natsu apologized with a toothy grin, as he rubbed the lump on his head. They're really cute together.
Mira Jane thought with a smile on her face. It's really obvious that she likes him, but I'm pretty sure Urza has feelings for Natsu as well. I haven't known you very long, Lucy, but it feels like we've been friends for years. In the few days that she's been here, she has made friends with just about everyone in the guild.
I want her to be happy, and Natsu obviously makes her happy.
But Urza probably likes Natsu as well, and I can't ignore my own feelings.
Maybe there's a way for all three of us to be happy.
Lucy said as she crossed her arms and looked away from Natsu. I accept your apology, but I'm still mad at you.
Come on, Luce, I'm sorry. Natsu pleaded, the familiar tugging in his chest telling him to make Lucy happy. Please don't stay mad at me. Calm down, Natsu, I'm not mad at you.
Lucy said with a sweat drop, making Natsu smile.
Just sit down and let Mira-san finish her explanation. Natsu quickly nodded, and retook his seat at the bar next to Lucy.
But when Lucy turned to look at Mira, she was surprised to see that the barmaid appeared to be in deep thought.
Mira-san?
Lucy asked, tapping the eldest Strauss sibling on her shoulder.
Huh? What? Oh.
Sorry about that, Lucy, I kinda spaced out there for a sec. Mira Jane said with a chuckle, as she rubbed the back of her head in embarrassment.
Okay, let's get back to my little presentation.
Now, Natsu wasn't wrong when he mentioned people from the darkness.
We call any guild that doesn't belong to the League a dark guild. They don't follow the law, so they're scary.
Natsu commented with a grin, putting his hands behind his head.
Happy cheered. Then I'm sure they'll come and recruit you soon.
Lucy said with a sigh, putting a hand on her hip. Anyway, I think Mira is finished with her explanation now, so why don't you pick a job for us, Luce? Natsu suggested, his grin widening.
Yeah. We chose the last mission without consulting you. So it's your turn to pick the mission, Lucy. Happy exclaimed, sprouting his wings and flying into the air.
I'm still a little peeved about that.
Lucy thought, as a mischievous smirk spread across her face.
Oh, I'm so gonna get some payback on those two.
Don't mess around.
Lucy exclaimed, as she turned her back to Natsu and Happy.
We're splitting up. Find someone else for your team. What? Natsu asked in a shocked tone.
The dragon felt as if he had just been punched in the gut. He could feel his heart pounding erratically in his chest.
No. What did I do wrong this time? You'd have probably taken in any blonde girl for that mission to Everloo Mansion, wouldn't you? Lucy asked in faux anger, tugging on her blonde locks.
Yeah, I could have picked any blonde girl, but I picked you, Lucy. Natsu replied with a small smile.
Because you're awesome, Lucy. You're nice, funny, caring, smart, strong, and really pretty.
Lucy fought back a raging blush, and she pursed her lips to hide the smile that was trying to spread across her face. Natsu grinning at her wasn't helping her keep up her fake anger. The celestial spirit mage started to sweat a little, as she tried to keep up her annoyed visage. You don't have to force yourself to team up with anyone, especially Flame Brain over there. A cool voice said from the table behind them. Lucy and Natsu turned around to see Grey Fullbuster sitting at the table right behind them. The ice user was grinning, as a cigarette hung from his mouth.
Lucy also noticed that Loke was standing next to Grey.
Loke noticed that Lucy was looking at him, and quickly gave her a wink.
You defeated 2 mercenaries from the Southern Wolves Guild, and a gorilla-like maid, right? That was really amazing.
Grey said, giving Lucy a thumbs up.
That was actually Natsu," Lucy said, making Gray frown. "So it was you, flame bastard?" Gray exclaimed, grabbing Natsu by scarf. "Got a problem with that you ice princess?" Natsu shot backing, butting heads with Gray. "Why exactly are they fighting?" Lucy asked with a sweat drop. "Gray, your clothes are gone again,"
Mira Jane said, pointing to Gray's lack of clothing.
"Gah! What? When? How does this keep happening?"
Gray exclaimed, as he looked down to see that he was only dressed in his boxers. "God, you're such a pain in the ass, pervert,"
Natsu said in a deadpan tone. "Did you just call me a pain in the ass, you flaming pile of shit?" Gray yelled, instantly back to butting heads with Natsu. "The biggest pain in the ass, you perverted ice bitch," Natsu yelled back, baring his fangs. "That's it, you flaming fuckwad,"
Gray screamed, throwing Natsu to the ground.
"Oh! It's go time, you stripper!"
Natsu roared, as he shot up and tackled Gray to the ground.
An all-out brawl ensued between Natsu and Gray.
They wrestled on the ground, often exchanging punches and headbutts whenever possible. As the Dragon Slayer and Ice Mage fought, Loke sauntered over to Lucy.
"You're really beautiful," Loke said, putting on all of his charm.
He placed his hands on Lucy's shoulders and smiled at her. "Even looking through the dark shade of my sunglasses, you're still so beautiful." Lucy groaned, and pinched the bridge of her nose. "If I were to look at you with my bare eyes, they'd probably shatter into pieces due to your sheer beauty." "Then please take off your fucking sunglasses," Lucy said in an annoyed tone, slightly glaring at Loke. "We're inside, you shouldn't even be wearing sunglasses." Natsu had tensed the second he heard Loke begin speaking to Lucy. This hesitation had caused him to take a punch from Gray. As Natsu's head whipped back, he spotted Loke put his hands on Lucy's shoulders. He then heard Loke try to flirt with Lucy. An intense feeling of possession and rage instantly filled Natsu. The Dragon Slayer felt like this whenever someone touched or flirted with Urza or Mira as well. He had gotten used to the flirting over time, because people flirted with Mira almost every day. But touching was something that Natsu hadn't gotten used to yet. So when Loke touched Lucy, Natsu saw red. "Get your hands off her, you bastard!" Natsu roared, as he broke away from his fight Gray. Lucy and Loke turned their heads towards the source of the exclamation. They both went wide-eyed when they saw Natsu sprinting full speed at them, flames surging off his body. "Shit! Not again!" Loke exclaimed, as he turned to run away. But it was too late. Natsu caught up with Loke and grabbed him by the back of his jacket. The Dragon Slayer whipped Loke around, and hoisted him into the air by his collar. Loke gasped when he saw that Natsu's eyes were full of white-hot fury. Veins bulged on Natsu's head, as he cocked his fist back. "Natsu! Stop!" Lucy screamed, as she grabbed onto Natsu's shoulder. She hissed in pain. Natsu's skin was scorching hot. Enduring the pain, Lucy started to shake Natsu's shoulder. "Natsu! Calm down. I'm fine. Please put Loke down." Hearing Lucy's voice had a calming effect on Natsu. He turned his head to look Lucy, but what he saw made his heart sink. Lucy looked scared, as she clenched her eyes shut from the pain she was feeling. Natsu knew he had to act fast or Lucy would end up being afraid of him. "Oh God, Luce, I'm sorry," Natsu said, as he set Loke on the ground. "I didn't mean to scare you. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. That's the second time that I've hurt you. I just saw Loke touching you, and something snapped inside me, and, shit, I'm sorry, Lucy." Before Lucy even had a chance to say anything, Natsu ran out of the guild. Lucy sighed, and turned to look at Loke. He was currently leaning against the wall, panting slightly. "What was that all about?" Lucy asked, walking up to Loke. Her keys clinked together as she walked up to the mage. It's happened be dash. Loke stopped mid-sentence when he spotted the celestial gate keys on Lucy's hip. "You're a celestial spirit mage. Oh, what a cruel twist of fate. I'm sorry, but things must end between us." "But there's nothing between us." Lucy said with a confused look. Like Natsu, Locke immediately sprinted out of the guild with a horrified look on his face. Lucy had a confused look as she returned to the bar, where Mira was currently cleaning some dirty beer mugs.
Do you have any idea what that was all about, Mira-san?
Lucy asked, as she retook her seat at the bar. Oh, Natsu was really overprotective. Mira Jane replied, emphasizing the word really. He did the same thing to Locke when he touched me a few months back. But it was much worse that time, because Locke had ran his hand down my thigh. It took 6 people to pry Natsu off Locke. Natsu actually used to fight with anyone that flirted with me, but since people hit on me every day he kinda got used to it. But he's never been used to people touching Urza or I, and you too apparently. So he was just being overprotective? Lucy thought, as she glanced to the doors that Natsu had ran out of. I remember the first time Natsu had done something like this. It happened about 1.5 years ago. Natsu and Urza were on a mission, and a mage from Blue Pegasus had tried to feel Urza up. Normally Urza would deal with any perverts that tried anything. But this time Natsu snapped, and he just went off on the guy. Urza had never seen Natsu so angry. The mage had to hospitalized for 2 weeks, and Master made Natsu formally apologize to the Master of Blue Pegasus for his actions. Mira Jane sighed, as she looked down at the bar. Urza wouldn't talk to him for a whole week after that. But when they finally did start talking again, they acted as if nothing ever happened. Ever since that incident they actually seemed to be closer than ever. I know Natsu was just looking out for me, but he really scared me just now, Mira-san. Lucy admitted, looking down, as she placed her slightly shaking hands in her lap. It was scary when it happened to me too, but it was also very exciting. Mira Jane said, making Lucy's head snap up. I know you felt it too, Lucy. The sheer power that Natsu exerts when he's angry. Yes, it's frightening, even overwhelming at times, but it's also exhilarating and very alluring. Lucy's face blushed bright red at Mira Jane's words. She didn't want to say it, but Mira was right. When Natsu had grabbed Locke, she could feel the raw power and energy dripping off the Dragon Slayer. It drew her in, and made her feel oddly safe. Even though Lucy was terrified, she knew deep in her gut that nothing bad would happen to her as long as Natsu was near. Lucy also hated to admit that she was really turned on by Natsu's display of power and aggression. The celestial spirit mage could feel her panties dampening slightly, as she rubbed her thighs together. You better talk to him quick, before he thinks you're afraid of him and does something stupid. Mira Jane suggested, earning a nod from the blonde. Lucy stood and walked over to Happy. The blue cat was sitting on a table near the back of the guild, quietly eating a plate of fish. Happy? Lucy asked, standing next to the cat. Can you do me a favor? Sure thing, Lucy. Happy cheered, as he stood up. Can you find Natsu, and bring him back here? There's been a misunderstanding, and I need to talk to him. Lucy said, as she pointed towards the front doors. Natsu ran out of the guild a few minutes ago. If you hurry, you could catch up to him. No problem, Lucy, I'll be back in a flash. Happy quickly sprouted his wings and flew out of the guild. Lucy took a seat at the table, and waited for Happy to return. After about 5 minutes the guild's front doors opened, and Happy flew in carrying a very sheepish-looking Natsu. Happy quickly deposited Natsu at the table Lucy was sitting at, and sat back down to finish his fish. Natsu had quickly averted Lucy's gaze, and stared at the wall across from them. Listen, Luce, Natsu said sheepishly, still avoiding eye contact with Lucy. I'm sorry about going off on Locke. I know you didn't need me to protect you, and I went way too far. So if you still don't want to be a team anymore, I'll understand. The last part hurt Natsu to say, but if being away from her made Lucy happy, Natsu would distance himself from her. No, Natsu, I still want to be on your team with Urza. Lucy said with a smile, making Natsu's head snap towards her. I was just messing with you earlier, when I said I didn't want to be on your team anymore. I love being a team with you and Happy, and I can't think of any better teammates than you two. Thank God. Natsu said, breathing a sigh of relief. I thought that I scared you, and that you were gonna avoid me.
Natsu, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was scared earlier, when you attacked Loke. Lucy said, causing sadness to flash in Natsu's eyes.
But I felt oddly safe and protected when you were like that.
I knew that nothing bad could happen to me, because you would protect me.
Really? Natsu asked, a faint blush across his cheeks.
Yeah, it was really strange.
Lucy sighed and stood up from her seat.
She walked around the table and sat next to Natsu. The blonde gently placed her hand on Natsu's shoulder.
Natsu, I get that you want to protect me, but Loke is a fellow guild member, one of our nakama.
You can't be going around and hurting your comrades just because you feel like you have to protect me. I'm a young, attractive girl, Natsu.
People are gonna try to flirt with me, or try and make a move on me.
So if a guild member flirts with me, or tries to touch me, let me deal with them. But if it's an enemy or some pervert on the street, feel free to kick the shit out of them.
Okay, Lucy, I understand. Natsu said with a smile. The Dragon Slayer then did something Lucy wasn't expecting.
He leaned forward and embraced her in a tight hug.
Lucy's face flared at the sudden contact, and she was so shocked that she didn't move at all.
I'll try to stay calm if it's one of our nakama, but if it's some jerk we don't know, I'm kicking their ass.
TCH, that's so sweet, I think my teeth are gonna rot. Gray said in a bored tone, interrupting Natsu and Lucy's little moment. Damn it, Ice Princess.
Why the fuck did you have to butt in? Natsu exclaimed, letting Lucy go and storming over to Gray. Because you bitched out on our fight with me to go threaten Loke.
Then you ran away like a little pussy.
Gray said, poking Natsu in the chest, earning a fierce glare from the Dragon Slayer. I want to finish our fight from before, no interruptions this time.
Natsu didn't say anything, instead he grabbed Gray's shoulders and headbutted him.
The unexpected headbutt sent Gray sprawling to the floor. Wiping some blood from his nose, Gray looked up to see Natsu grinning down at him.
Let's dance, you icy pervert. Natsu said, cracking his knuckles.
That was a cheap shot, you flaming jackass. Gray yelled as he tackled Natsu to the ground.
Again Gray and Natsu rolled around the guild, exchanging blows back and forth.
Natsu had just managed to kick Gray off himself, when Loke burst back into the guild. Everyone turned to look at Loke, who was panting and out of breath.
Oh, you're back, Loke.
Mira said with a sweet smile.
Why are you so out of breath? As she's back. Loke replied, making the entire guild gasp. Natsu and Gray both stopped mid-punch to look at Loke. Natsu. Gray. Urza is back. Urza is back. Should I better get out of here? Gray yelled as he made a beeline for the door. Sweet. Urza is back. Natsu cheered as he turned to face Lucy. You'll finally get to meet Urza, Lucy. I know you'll love her.
Oh, it's so good to have Urza back. Mira Jane exclaimed with a smile, as she clapped her hands together.
I haven't seen her in almost a week. We have to catch up.
While Mira Jane and Natsu seemed happy to see Urza return, the rest of the guild had gone deathly quiet. Lucy noticed that everyone was drinking quietly, and all the arguments and talking had stopped.
Why is everyone so tense? From what Natsu has told me, Urza is really nice. Lucy thought with a quirked eyebrow. I think I'm gonna go home now.
Loke said, as he started to follow after Gray. Right when Gray reached the guild's front doors, they slowly began to open. Gray stopped dead in his tracks, as a figure appeared in the doorway.
The first thing Lucy noticed was the clanking of armor, as a lone figure walked into the guild. Next, Lucy noticed the figure was carrying what appeared to be a large, ornately decorated horn over their shoulder. Finally, Lucy could make out the person's details.
What she saw shocked her. The woman that had walked into the guild was beautiful. It definitely was Urza Scarlet. Urza had stunning scarlet hair that went down to the small of her back. Her brown eyes were warm and inviting, yet at the same time hard and fierce. She had a slender and voluptuous figure that had Lucy in awe. Urza was wearing a custom set of Heart Crew's armor, with a blue skirt and a pair of black boots. The armor set consisted of a metal breastplate, with a high armored collar and plated shoulder guards, with each side being composed of 4 metal plates.
On the breastplate's left side was the symbol of the Heart Crew's fashion company.
Lastly, the armor's waist guard was composed of 3 plates, each held up by Urza's belt. If looks could kill, Urza would have slaughtered everyone in the guild.
I'm back, Urza said, walking up to the bar and setting the massive horn down. Mira, is Natsu back yet?
Yes, he got back a few days ago, Mira Jane said with a smile, as she pointed to where Natsu was standing.
I'm right here, Urza. Natsu cheered, waving to her from where he stood next to Lucy. Oh, it's great to see you, Natsu,
Urza said, as she walked up to the Dragon Slayer and pulled him in for a tight hug. His head banged against her armored chest, but he didn't mind at all.
I missed you, Natsu. I missed you too, Urza,
Natsu said with a smile, as Urza released him her hug.
Actually, Urza, I want you to meet someone. The Dragon Slayer stepped aside, revealing Lucy. This is my good friend Lucy. I've told you about her a couple times.
Well, I caught up with her a few days ago, and she joined the guild. Oh, so you're the Lucy Natsu has told me about, Urza said with a smile, as she extended her hand.
I'm Urza Scarlet, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's an honor to meet you, Urza.
Lucy stuttered out, still slightly in awe of Urza. She extended a shaky arm and shook Urza's hand.
Natsu has told me so much about you, and I've read about you in the Weekly Sorcerer. You're an amazing mage, and you're considered the strongest woman in Fairy Tail. Well, I hope he's only told you good things about me,
Urza said with a smile, releasing Lucy's hand.
Natsu only had the nicest things to say about you, trust me,
Lucy said, as she turned to look at Natsu.
Well, I have nothing bad to say about Urza,
Natsu said with a grin, earning a smile from Urza.
Is the master here, Mira?
Urza asked, turning to the white-haired barmaid.
No, he's currently attending the regular meeting,
Mira Jane replied with a smile.
It's great to have you back, Urza. It's great to be back, Mira. When I have time later, we'll catch up,
Urza said, earning a happy nod from Mira Jane.
Urza-san, what is that giant thing? A guild member asked in a shaky voice. This thing? Urza asked, placing her hand on the large horn.
The local townspeople decorated the horn of a demon I had defeated.
They gave it to me as a souvenir. Will it be a nuisance here? And no. It's perfectly fine, the guild member said in a panicked tone, frantically waving his hands defensively. Why is everyone so afraid of Urza? Lucy thought in confusion. She'd been really nice so far. Anyway, guys,
Urza said, putting her hands on her hips and glaring at several guild members.
I've heard that you all have been causing trouble again.
Even if Master forgives you, I won't.
Urza's upset tone made most of the guild members cower in fear.
Oh, that's why everyone is afraid of her,
Lucy whispered to Happy. Yeah, Urza is really strong,
Happy said, raising his paw.
Kana, Urza exclaimed, startling the brunette. Put the barrel down and drink like a normal person.
Vijiter.
Take your dancing outside. Wakaba. Your damn cigarette butts are all over the floor. Nab.
Stop loitering around the request job, and pick a damn job already. ****, you guys give me such trouble sometimes, Urza said, pinching the bridge of her nose.
However, I'll let everything slide today, and won't say anything. She said quite a lot already,
Lucy said in a low tone, as she turned to Happy.
Is she like a disciplinary enforcer or something? She's Urza, Happy replied with a smile. Happy, is Gray here? Urza asked the blue cat.
Hey, Urza,
Gray said, shaking in fear.
The ice mage was forcing a smile, as he wrapped his arm around Natsu's neck and shook his hand.
I am getting along with Natsu like always.
Natsu said, as he leaned in to whisper to Gray.
I'm only helping you, because I feel bad for you, Ice Princess.
I don't want Urza to beat the shit out of you, I'd rather do that.
Just shut up and smile.
Gray whispered back, fear evident in his tone.
I see, best friends do fight every once in a while.
Urza said with a smile, nodding her head. But I'd much rather see you two get along all the time.
Urza, I've told you that Natsu isn't my best friend.
Gray protested weakly, his arm still around Natsu's neck.
Did you say something, Gray?
Urza said, glaring at the ice mage.
No ma'am.
Gray quickly replied. Gray is really scared of Urza, and I think Natsu even a little scared of her sometimes. Mira told Lucy, earning a raised eyebrow from the blonde. One time Natsu challenged Urza to a sparring match and got the crap beat out of him.
No way, that Natsu? Lucy asked in a shocked tone, pointing at the Dragon Slayer.
Natsu is almost at Urza's level, she's only a little stronger than him. Mira explained, as she looked at Natsu.
That is until Natsu gets angry.
When Natsu is mad, his strength seems to double, or even triple sometimes. His feelings for the guild and its members are what gives him the strength and will to overcome almost any obstacle.
Yeah, that sounds like our Natsu.
Lucy said with a smile. I remember one time Urza caught Gray walking naked, and she beat him up. Then there was the time Locke tried to hit on Urza, he almost died after she was done with him. Mira Jane explained, earning a shocked look from Lucy.
I'm glad to see you getting along with Natsu, Gray.
Urza said with a smile, as she pushed a couple scarlet locks out of her eyes.
But, I actually have a favor to ask you both.
Sure thing, Urza, what do you need us to do?
Natsu asked with a toothy grin.
I overheard some troubling things, while I was on my mission. Normally I would consult the master about something this.
But this is an urgent matter. Urza explained, putting her hands on her hips. I need you both to lend me your strength. You'll help me, right?
Gray said in a shocked tone.
Sure thing, Urza, I'll help you with whatever you need. Natsu answered with a large smile. What's going on? Kana asked with a confused look. This is the first time Urza has teamed up with someone other than Natsu.
Max exclaimed with a stunned look on his face.
What could it be to make Urza team up with someone other than Natsu?
Happy asked with a worried look. We'll leave tomorrow, so get ready.
Urza said, turning to leave.
I'll tell you both the details along the way.
Ah, no. Wait. Gray tried to protest, but Urza was already walking away. Wait, Urza.
Before you go, I have to tell you something.
Natsu exclaimed, pulling Urza off to the side.
Urza, Natsu, and Gray, I've never imagined something like this. Mira Jane said in a low tone. This might very well be the strongest team in Fairy Tail.
Really? Lucy gasped out at Mira Jane's words. Yes, what did you want to tell me, Natsu? Urza asked, as the Dragon Slayer released her. I wanted to tell you that Lucy will be coming with us.
Natsu replied, making Urza raise a scarlet eyebrow.
Why would she be coming with us? Urza questioned in a confused tone. Because she's a part of our team. Natsu exclaimed with a wide grin. What?
Urza hissed, startling the Dragon Slayer.
Natsu. You know how I feel about working with people other than you.
I did really want to bring Gray along on this mission, but we likely need his help.
Urza, Lucy is really strong too.
She helped me save Macau the other day, and she was a big help on our mission to Everloo Mansion. Natsu explained, placing his hands on Urza's armored shoulders. Lucy's a great person, Urza. She'll be a great addition to our team, and I know you'll love her.
Just please give her a chance. For me. I'm only doing this for you. Urza relented when she saw the puppy look Natsu was giving her. Thanks, Urza. You're best. Natsu exclaimed, pulling Urza in for another hug. I know I am. Urza said with a chuckle, as Natsu released her. Hey, why don't we go out and get something to eat? We can catch up. Sure, let me get Happy, Mira, and Lucy.
Natsu exclaimed, as he turned to run off. But he was stopped when Urza grabbed his scarf. "No, Natsu, just you and me alone, no one else," Urza said, earning a confused look from the Dragon Slayer.
"Why? It will be more fun with everyone else there," Natsu reasoned, causing Urza to pout. "Natsu, I haven't seen you in almost a week. I want to spend some time with just you right now," Urza said, clasping her hands and leaning in close. "Please, Natsu, for me." Urza fluttered her eyelashes and gave Natsu the same puppy look her gave her. "Damn it, you know I can't say no to you when you give me that look," Natsu said with a groan. "Fine, let's go, just you and me." "You're the best, Natsu," Urza said with a smile, wrapping her arm around his waist. "I know I am." Natsu laughed as the duo walked out of the guild. Lucy watched the whole exchange with a jealous look. Mira Jane giggled, causing Lucy to turn and face her. "You better get used to that," Mira Jane said with a smile. "Those two are about as close as you can get. I used to get jealous too, but you'll get used to it." "Wait, why would Mira-san be jealous too?" Lucy thought, giving the barmaid a look. "Does she like Natsu too? I'm pretty sure Urza likes Natsu, but I'm not sure yet. Damn it, looks like I'm gonna have to compete with the both of them for Natsu's affections. This is gonna be pretty tough." Dark Guild, Eisenwald. "Whoa! What guild is that woman from?" an Eisenwald member asked, pointing to a picture in the Weekly Sorcerer. "I dunno, the article doesn't say," another guild member said, as he flipped to another picture of the scarlet-haired mage. "She's gorgeous," the previous guild member said, as he suddenly groaned. "Shit. I should have made a move on her." "You wouldn't stand a chance," the Eisenwald member with the magazine said with a grin. "What did you say, you bastard?" "Hey you two, is Kageyama back yet?" Bayard asked, as he walked into the room. "No, but it's not an easy task to break seal off that thing, so it can't be helped," Rayul replied with a smirk. "Don't be hesitant," a voice said from the shadows. "Now is our time to strike. Now when the old geezers are all at the regular meeting." The man stepped into the light, revealing an extremely tall, lean-built and yet mildly muscular man with silver hair. His eyes were dark, and each featured a simple tattoo underneath. Tattoos also covered his bare chest and shoulders. He wore an old black scarf, and various tattered cloth covered his lower body. A massive scythe rested on his shoulder. It was Eisenwald's strongest mage, Aragorn the Shinigami. That wraps up this part of What If Natsu Had Dual Elements. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Quick reminder. What If Ichigo Awoke His True Powers will be finished soon, since we've nearly at the end of the story. So now, I need your help picking the next project for the channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What If Gacha System in Modern Family World? What If Transmigrated in Bleach World? What If Transmigrated in One Piece and Becoming a Marine? Please vote in the poll and let me know which story you'd like to see next. I'll take the top pick and start working on that series next. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.